You're watching the Top 6 Show, the original multi-club fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. The Top 6 Show, hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you leave us your comments below as well. Loads to delve into today as pre-season has really kicked in. There's been some big results over the weekend we're going to be discussing. And today, with Liverpool drawing 4-4 with an unknown team, with not a recognised player on the planet. We'll be talking about that. We're looking at some big transfers as well, with Arsenal now in the driving seat to sign Mohamed Kudus. Harry Kane, is he going to be forced out of Tottenham? And will Man United enter the race for him? A 300 million euro bid for Mbappé has been accepted by Paris Saint-Germain. And we're also going to be talking about Caicedo to Chelsea as it hits an impasse. I love that word. Don't know what it means, but that's what it's hit. Got a brilliant panel with me today. We've got Staffy back on the show. Roy the boy is back with us. We've got Cal, a long time no see. Cal is back with us, representing, of course, Liverpool from the Coppish. We've got Colleen in the house, fresh from working directly for Arsenal on Saturday night as they were battered by United. And Mo's with us. Mo's with us here. He's also in the UK right now as well, Mo. And I know where you're staying because I can recognise what's behind you from Never a Fail. You're obviously staying with Daps and Kaz at their bachelor pad.
100%. I'm enjoying the weather in England. You guys have the best weather in Europe.
Well, it is better than a lot of countries in Europe right now. They're warm, but they're too hot. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is better right now. But yeah, welcome to the UK, my friend. It's good to have you here. And I wanted to start off. I want to go to Cal first on this. 300 million euro bid, 700 million euros in salary for 1 year for Mbappé. Potentially with the door then open for him to join Madrid for free. I'm sure Madrid fans everywhere are licking their lips at the prospect of this. But a lot of people today are saying this is going to kill football. It's a ridiculous bid. It shouldn't be allowed. What's your take on it, Cal?
It's not going to kill football. I think people overreact and they use that term so freely. We've seen so many other things happen in football and it's not killed football. This isn't going to kill football. This is one player going for an extortionate amount of money. Like, you could argue the other way. Look at someone like Mahrez. Mahrez is worth way more than 25 mil, but only went for 25 mil. Salaries, again, yeah, we can speak about salaries to a blue in the face, but Mbappe is on what, 2 mil a week at the moment. It's not like he's on change at the moment. So he's just going somewhere where they've just got an influx of stupid amount of money. They can afford to do it. He wants to take up the opportunity, and let's be honest, who here is going to say no to 700 mil for 1 year worth of work?
Tax-free.
Tax-free. Bro, I'm going to be real with you. I'm so close to dusting off my football boots and playing third division in Saudi Arabia. I'm so close. 5K a week, tax-free. I'll do it in a heartbeat. 5K a week?
Yeah. A couple of problems about this that I'm looking at it from an Arab point of view. Why are they bidding 300 million when PSG don't want that much money? Yes, I understand the salary. You want to offer him 11 million K a week. Okay, I get it. You want to attract Mbappe for 1 year. That's fine. Why 300 million? Why is that going to the Qatari PSG? Why? It could have been 150, could have been 200, because the player has nothing to do with that fee. That's one question. Second question is that going to affect his Euro form? Going to play, with all due respect, for a lower league with lesser player. Yes, I know they signed Benzema and everything, but you're not playing Champions League football. You're still playing Asian Cups and you're playing the Saudi League. And this is the Euro year. This is France's best team ever that I have seen. So is that going to affect his Euro form? 1 year in the Saudi League might drop his form. That's the second one. And the third one, it's football out of the way now. It's money. If anybody is offered that money, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. 11 million a week. What are they getting out of that? 11 million a week. What is this? I don't know. It's not football anymore.
Yes,
I understand. I understand that. Look, I don't agree that football's dying. And the reason I'm going to say that, and it's poetic and ironic and maybe even a coincidence, that on the day Trevor Francis passes away, and Trevor Francis is very significant in this, 69 years of age, passed away today, like RIP to him. He was the first £1 million football player in 1979. and the types of headlines. I spoke to my dad today, and the types of headlines that we're seeing now, football's going to die, this is exhaustion, this is crazy, is exactly what was written, exactly what was said on the airways in 1979 when Trevor Francis was sold for £1 million. It was seen as obscene, immoral, as poisonous, nasty. And you fast forward now, League One players sell for more than £1 million. And so I don't think it's going to kill football. My biggest question is, if Mbappe spends a year away from European football, not in the Champions League, not playing any of the top leagues, will this impact or damage his legacy at all? Will it hurt European football with him being missing for a whole year? We ain't going to see him. Because no disrespect, no one's really tuning in to watch the football over there. And even if they do, it's going to feel like a friendly to all of us. No one is going to look at those games and go, oh, I can't wait for it today. So is it damaging for his brand, not financially, but from a football point of view, Staffy or Roy, for him to go to Saudi now and miss a year of top flight football?
I don't think it's going to damage his brand.
Go on.
Roy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I personally don't think it's going to damage his brand because, firstly, if you just look at the size of it, like, unless he does something criminal, a footballing decision isn't going to, like, footballing decision like this isn't going to damage his brand. Because the way I look at it, he could potentially make £1 billion in 1 year. Like, you'd have to be insane to turn that down. Also, he's already got a fantastic body of work, and he's already one of the best players in the world, if not the best. So going to the Saudi League for a year, even though obviously I'm sure everyone here would rather he just stayed at PSG for another year, but they're not interested in having him if he doesn't re-sign. Going to the Saudi League for a year, I don't think it's that terrible. Like, I think Mo was saying, it's gonna affect his Euro 2024 campaign. Like, unless the guy is literally unable to walk, he's going to the Euros and he's captaining his country. Like, one season in a league which isn't really ideal in comparison to where Deschamps wants him to play, is not going to do any harm. Like, if he stays fit, he's going to the Euros. Yes, the quality of football, with all due respect to any Saudi person who's a fan here, isn't as high as what we see in Europe. But it's literally 1 year. He gets his dream club after. He makes £1 billion. And even for the Saudi League, we're all saying, oh, stop throwing money, blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, as in, if you want to get to the level of these top European leagues, you've got to drop the bread. So you can't blame them. Yes, maybe 300 million, you could probably get a little less accepted, but look, that's what they thought was feasible. They want to pay him, what, £700 million in 1 year or something like that. Like, if that's what they feel he's worth, then they've got every right to pay it. We might hate it, but at the end of the day, they're trying to get their league to a serious level. And considering the gap between them already, they had to drop the bread. So from Mbappe's perspective, he gets his bread. He gets to go to a new country, grow his brand even more in terms of playing in Saudi Arabia. He gets his dream transfer in a year's time. Regardless of what happens, he's going to the Euros. So from his perspective, there's nothing wrong. And from the Saudi League, yeah, we might hate it, but what else are they going to do if they want to bridge the gap? That's just my opinion.
You don't think this is post-washing at all?
100% it is. And listen, I'm not going to hate on it. I'm not going to hate on it because at the end of the day, if you pay the money, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. You know, I don't rate it as from the footballing side, but when you're talking from the business side, yes, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, so like before people label us as haters, we're just trying to address it from a footballing side as well. The reason I was saying it won't damage his reputation is because this guy has already had a reputation that was built up on nothing for years. And this is going to sound very controversial. This guy has not won a Ballon d'Or. He's 26 and he's been labeled as the best player in the world for quite a while now. And he hasn't even won a Ballon d'Or yet. Isn't he 25? No, he's 25.
He's born in 1998. He's born in 1998.
Okay, so he's 25.
Stephanie, you're saying something crazy right now.
No. And I'm going to go ahead because, listen, 25, no Ballon d'Or.
He's 24 years old, guys.
He's 24 with a World Cup.
So 99 then. Okay,
so is he going to win a Ballon d'Or when he goes to Saudi Arabia? Okay, so we'll talk by then. Because in a year, he still won't have a Ballon d'Or when he goes to Saudi Arabia. So no Champions League, no Ballon d'Or. People have putting him in conversations as the best player in the world for quite a while now. Hasn't even played in the Premier League. Hasn't played in Barcelona. Okay, when he won the World Cup, I knew we were going to say that. Was he the most important player on their team? Yes, he was. He was a good player.
No. The answer is yes.
No, he wasn't. We can disagree.
He was top three. I'll tell you that.
That World Cup was won based on Kante, Pogba, and Griezmann. Those were the three most
so
important
Mbappe did
players.
what?
No, he did his part. He did his part, but let's not talk about Mbappe when he was, what was he, 17, 18 at that time? When he won it, he wasn't the Mbappe that we're talking about right now. He had like 2 goals that World Cup, something like that.
What? Sorry, he scored in
the
the
guy scored in a
final.
World Cup final, the first teenager to do it since Pele. And
wasn't he the one who beat Argentina in the quarterfinal single-handedly, running from halfway line?
Single-handedly. Yeah. So we're saying he single-handedly won the World Cup.
Do you know what I'm talking about that game. You're twisting my words.
Do you know what I'll say?
You said he single-handedly won them the game. He didn't single-handedly. Yes, he was an essential part for that game.
World Cups. This kid has got a legacy. Almost, listen. I don't think there's very many strikers in World Cup football history who actually have a legacy as good as Mbappe, and Mbappe's 24. He scored, even in the last final, they didn't win, but the man got a brace and scored. The second goal was amazing. But I do agree with you at club level. In my opinion, at club level, barring goals, Mbappe's done nothing. He's done zero yet because he's done it in a league that nobody in the world watches. He's done it in a substandard league. It's what ranked currently the 6th biggest league in Europe. He's still young-ish. Okay, he's not a kid anymore, but he's still young. He can come back in a year's time if he goes to Saudi and win everything. But the guy he's competing with at the moment in terms of who's the best attacker in the world is Haaland. Haaland just did a treble in one of the hardest leagues in the world, broke goal scoring records that have stood for nearly 100 years in the hardest league in the world.
And he'll have a Ballon d'Or before Mbappe.
And has won a Champions League. And I do think it's just a little bit of a, you've got to strike while the iron is hot. I don't think you should be taking a year out of your best, your peak years to go and play in Saudi Arabia. Listen, for the money and everything else, I get it. And if that's his choice to go and earn $1 billion, I respect his decision. But I think it could be legacy damaging for him. I really do think it could damage his legacy, taking a year away. I'm not saying he'll regress in that year, but he's going to be playing with a sub. If he went and spent a year in League One, we would all be worried about his development as a football player. So why are we not worried about him going to Saudi and doing that?
I just said that.
Terry,
but to be honest, Terry, the guy, sorry, I just want to add a point. The guy's motive over the past 3 years was money. Do you guys remember the contract he had to offer him?
Literally, Mo. I wanted to mention that.
Did you guys remember when he refused to get pictures with the rest of the French team because he said, I own my image rights and I have a different agent? And his whole motive, I think, all his career was, I saw it as money. He didn't move from PSG because they offered him a big contract. And I'm going to echo Roy. He is going to be nuts not to take 700 million in 1 year. This is crazy.
No, he is. The thing is, though, if it is all about money, I can respect that. I don't think people should not make decisions for money. But if his decision is about money and not about legacy, by definition, it's detrimental to it, if not damaging. But sorry, Cal, you were going to say something, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, the League One comparison you made, yeah, it makes sense. I hear where you're coming from. And I get why people say it could be legacy damaging. But at the same time, is it 17 years old? This kid's been, he's not even a kid. He's 17 years old since he's been playing at the highest level, right? And he's pretty much been winning stuff since the age of 17. Could you not argue that him having a year out of really hard football could actually be better for him? Because we've seen other players, Michael Owen, Rooney, who burst out on the scene really early, really young in age, and were burnt out by the age of 29, 30, 31 years old. Maybe this year out could actually do him the benefit, and then he joins Real Madrid. Who's to say he doesn't win 3 Champions Leagues in the next 6 years at Real Madrid, and then everyone's turning around going, you know what, that was a great deal.
That's too much hindsight.
I do get you. I do get you. What I would say is this: football in France is not hard. It's hard for people like you and me.
No, I disagree.
No,
the best French players don't even play in France.
Roy, the reason I'm saying it's not that hard, and I'm talking about at the elite end of the spectrum. I'm not talking about compared to us being able to do it. It's still difficult, but not compared to the Prem, La Liga, Serie A. And the reason that I say that is I have seen on multiple occasions when PSG have a big midweek game in the Champions League, they will rest their main 11 players for a whole league game. You can't do that in England. You can't even really do that in Spain. The fact you can do that so regularly in France tells you it's not that difficult, in my personal opinion.
All the best French talents don't even play in France. This is why when you look, I rate all the talents that come out of France, don't get me wrong, but all their best players end up leaving France. If you're not playing for PSG, you're playing everywhere else. When you look at their teams that goes to the World Cup and Euros, whatever, they're all playing either in Spain, in England, or Italy. So what you're saying is not wrong.
Yeah, and someone here said it's the most physical league in the world. I'd love to know what. I'm
Liga
always
is very physical. The technical and physical level of Liga is actually
I'm not
deceivingly high.
Okay, the technical ability in France, I know, is there.
It's just not as high. It's just not as high as Bundesliga, Serie A.
Oh, the Eredivisie has really high physical challenges in there. The Eredivisie, that doesn't mean that the quality is as high as the other leagues. Come on, Roy. The Bundesliga is a way better league than Liga. Listen, the La Liga.
I think you can't stop disrespecting Liga. Listen, I'm not disrespecting Liga. I'm just telling it's looked at as the 6th best league in Europe for a reason, and I'm just stating that it's not as hard as La Liga or the Premier League. That is an absolute fact. And I think the Premier League and La Liga are more difficult by a country mile. By a country mile as an overall league. There's no way Man City go into a Premier League game on a Saturday at home against Burnley this season with the Champions League quarter-final in midweek. There's no way they rest their main 11 players. PSG do it all the time.
Man City is a bad example, Terry. Guardiola probably would do something mad like that.
Yeah, but he's never done it. That's my point. He's never done it. Liverpool don't do it. Man United have never done that. We all rotate, but not as much as them. And that's my only point. Listen, Mbappe is an amazing player. I am desperate as a football fan to see him play football in the Liga or the Premier League, where it is week in, week out, very difficult and very hard. I know he's going to smash it, but he has to tick that box in his career, and he ain't done it yet.
I don't think he's going to go, I don't think he's going to go. I think he'll stay. No, I don't think he'll go. I think he'll do exactly what he said. I think he'll do.
I don't think there's a choice anymore.
I know what PSG have said, but Kylian Mbappe has proven time and time again that he kind of is a little bit bigger than the club in this sense. I reckon he will dig his heels in. I don't see him going to the Saudi League. It's a lot of money. It's enough to tempt almost any person. But I reckon he'll dig his heels in. I reckon he's looked across and seen Haaland go through that treble-winning season and be like, I can't go to Saudi now. And I also hope that's the case as well.
Where do you think he'll go?
I reckon exactly what PSG thinks going on. They think he's got a pre-agreement with Real Madrid. I genuinely think he will dig his heels in and he will just waste away at PSG, because I reckon they'll end up caving in and playing him for at some point during the season. If you're Kylian Mbappe, I don't see a world where if they can't force him, they can't make him sign anything. They can leave him out on the squad for pre-season. They can make his life a little bit difficult. But come October, November, December, if he's still sticking to his guns, I don't see PSG still keeping him warming up with the under 21s. I just don't see it. If they go through into the Champions League, I don't see it.
That as a fact is just a joke that a player is that much stronger than a club. That as a fact is just a joke. And I know it's true. I believe you. 100% I've seen it before. Kylian Mbappe can do that. But I believe they will have ways around it, even if they make a deal with Real Madrid. Even if they make a deal with Real Madrid for cheaper money. They're not idiots. They're not.
Yeah, they should do a deal. It's either do a deal with Madrid or he digs his heels in. I reckon the fact he's not even said anything so far around this bid or anything like that, I think is quite telling. I just don't see the world where he goes.
They should just do what they did when he signed for PSG and just loan him to Madrid for a year, pay 30 mil, whatever, and then do whatever, how many.
They don't want to deal with Madrid, though. Are you guys forgetting?
Well,
the whole reason this is all happening is they don't want to deal with them.
The only places he can go are Madrid, Man United, if they get taken over by the Qataris, or maybe Barcelona, but Barcelona have no money. So
can't go Arsenal. Arsenal fans have all said today they wouldn't swap.
Martinelli's too important.
What about Chelsea? What about Chelsea? Another 200 million.
We would do it, but we don't have Champions League.
Yeah, we're not attractive.
Oh, that's why.
Can anyone see him come into the Premier League?
No.
This guy doesn't want to compete, bro. He doesn't want to compete. He wants
his
money. 100% is going to go to
God.
Saudi. He doesn't want to compete. Like, why are we acting like we haven't seen that before? This guy grew up with wallpapers of Ronaldo and Madrid in his room. We've seen it for years, got sick of it, seeing it online for years. And the minute Madrid came in for him, he said, oh, sorry, 300 million from PSG. Oh, I'm staying here.
Are you saying that Man United and the Premier League is bigger than Real Madrid? Is that what I'm saying?
What does that have to do with Man United? I did not say anything that
No, you literally said Ronaldo.
You said
said Ronaldo
posters.
Man United.
No, he
had
had Ronaldo posters in his room of Real Madrid. Do you not know that famous picture?
Yeah, of course. So
stop doing. I know you love doing that, you instigator.
Listen,
hold
if
on.
you're French, you come to Arsenal. So don't even get your hopes up. If he's coming to the
Whoa,
Prem,
whoa, whoa, whoa!
he's
whoa,
coming to.
Hold on,
He's
hold on.
coming
We've
to
got more
North
French players than
London.
you. What are we doing here?
Arsenal's Arsenal's heritage.
Oh, your heritage is
French
man.
players.
Roy,
Listen,
Roy, it's Arsenal's
let me
only
see.
heritage.
Let me see.
That's
Okay,
the
there we
difference,
move on.
man.
Move on. I've had
No one's
enough.
thinking
That's the
about
difference,
04,
man.
man.
I've had enough already. Turn off the stream.
Listen, one call from Nkunku, and Mbappe's on the plane, man.
What? He's not coming to us, bro. If we had Europe, I'd fully back it. I'd fully back it, but we don't. So
You know what? I hope Bodie tests.
Mbappe would be one of the oldest players there. He's not trying to be.
Actually, if you're a senior member of the squad,
fully
he would be as well, to be honest.
Would be.
Yeah, I'd love him in the Prem. But do you know what it is? I'd rather listen. I would rather him in Saudi than in the Prem at arrival. To be fair, because do you know what I mean? The man is dangerous. But the thing is, everyone's got to inquire about him because at the end of the day, they're talking about letting him go for about 90 to 100 million. The fact that this is why PSG annoy me, though, and I know they're not a poor club or I don't know they don't need money per se. But they should never have done this new deal for 2 years. This was always going to happen. That's the bit that frustrates me. You should have sold him. Like, this is a for me, this is like a what's the word? A message and a lesson here. We'll come to that in a minute. A lesson and a message to the smaller clubs, whether they've got money or not. If you sign a star and he's on a 5-year deal and after 2 years he's killing it, sell him because you're just going to end up losing money on these guys. This is what's going to keep happening now with these young stars. And it is true. It has been confirmed officially that Tottenham have inquired about Mbappe as well, which is an interesting. Anyone see a bit of Daniel Levy magic here?
No, I mean I've also inquired to date Rihanna, but it's not going to happen either. Like we can all inquire.
You've inquired to date Rihanna.
I've popped her a cheeky DM. I've popped her a cheeky DM. She hasn't got back to us yet, but I'm sure she will.
Viewers, let us know if you'd like to see that deal. Rihanna and Colleen signing an agreement. Let us know if you'd like to agree personal terms on that one. Let us know in the comments section below. You simps will love that. I'm sure they will. There's lots of super chats here on this. First one says, "Big up everyone. Mo's on a mission to drag Onana back to Milan. The only reason he's in the UK right now, and Mbappe is the best in the world. He just needs to move to a top club to vindicate that." And yeah, are you here? Well, he's in the wrong country if he's going to steal Onana because Onana's currently on his. I think he's in
the US.
Angeles. He's in Los Angeles. He's actually in the country that Mo's from, or lives in, not from. So there we go. Jay, top man.
I am now. I'm
I already spoke to Onana. Don't worry, guys. I spoke to him. I showed him a picture of Mo. I was like, if you see this guy, call the cops right away. He's coming after you.
Do you remember when Sacha Baron Cohen's Borat character threw that bag over Pam Ramsden and tried to nick her? That's going to be Mo. He's going to go to a signing or something and throw a bag over the man and try and take him. Did you cry when Onana left, Mo?
A little bit, yeah.
I like that. Chris here. This is the Colleen says, Arsenal and Heritage don't go together.
I'm not even going to indulge that with a response. Keep it step and tell.
Why? Just answer the question.
Hey, let him cook, man.
Colleen is still angry she didn't get to go on that parade in May, or June, whenever it would have been. She's still.
I didn't say the year. It's coming. It's
that
coming.
old chestnut. Mbappe is going to be a billionaire quicker than most with this deal. P.S. Colleen, how tall are you? Asking for Monts.
Right, leave Monts alone, man.
What? Whoa. Hang on. Has Monts been sliding in?
No, he has not. Monts is a little bit upset. Monts is a little upset because I've revealed that he's only 5'2". So now he's telling everyone I'm a WNBA player and I'm 6'4". I'm not 6'4". I wish I was, but I'm not.
Monts is 6. That kid must, them trainers that are on sale on Insta where they make you like 4 or 5 inches taller. He must wear them when I've met him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he wears, Tel.
We should have a whip round for Monts. We should have a whip round for him. This here says Taincy's legacy 100%. He was hailed as the heir to Messi and Ronaldo at 24. They were dominating Europe. People said he surpassed Henry. In my opinion, he's nowhere near it, is what Liverpool Till I Die has said here. Who do you think got the bigger legacy in football, Colleen? Henry or Mbappe?
Right now, Henry.
How's that even a question? I'm sorry.
I was thinking,
what are we doing here?
I'm just asking a question based on the super chats. Don't blame. Don't
I'm going
shoot
to
the
defend my
messenger.
man, Henri. It's not even close. Not even close.
This here says Mbappe is Lukaku Pro Max.
It's really not, but that's a good super
Damn. He hasn't improved since he was 18. His ego will only be matched by Star-Lord's dad. I'll never watch that league anyway. Wherever he goes, hope he goes. Harold, they're not happy at all with Mbappe. Not improved since he was 18. Alex here says, where is the gut? The guts means guy with the hat coming from. He has basic knowledge on football with no statistics. You're the only one with a hat.
Does he have knowledge, like knowledge, or does he have statistics? Or like Alex, is like Staffy.
He's talking about me. Listen, Alex, you think I wake up wondering what Alex thinks about my ball knowledge? Go to bed, man. Thank you for the super chat.
Sound like a Sopranos character.
You did sound a little bit. Waiting for you to go, oh, Madon.
I mean, I really don't care. I'm sorry, Alex. I mean, if you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
All right. Are you okay, Staffy?
Oh yeah, I'm in a great mood. I'm just saying, like, Alex, I don't care. You can move on with your life without listening.
That voice has got a little high pitch, G. It's gone up a little.
I'm regaining my voice again from the other day.
Okay. This idea about legacy is nonsense. After his retirement, legacy is not going to feed him. I would gladly for the morning, even in Sudan. I think you mean you would gladly do it for the money, even in Sudan.
Yeah.
Listen, and that's up to you, my friend. It depends what you want, and we've already said that.
It's hardly
it's a sell, not a loan. Mbappe can't decide to just stay at Saudi for 1 year and go. The Saudi club will have to accept a bid, and Mbappe wages are crazy.
1 year deal.
No, that's wrong, actually. The contract, people don't understand. The contract is for 1 year. This is it.
1 year. That's it. 100%.
That's ridiculous.
This year says, Roy, you know League is trash. Come on, stop, please, is what Clay's...
Nah, League One's a good league, man. I don't like
Have you watched more than 5 games, Roy?
I did. Do you want me to count them?
Good.
This says, hypothetically, for the panel, would you sign Kane or Mbappe this season, get a different position, and all? Just very curious.
It is very different. Mbappe has people don't like when I say that. Mbappe has a resale value. If you sign Harry Kane now, I think he guarantees you probably competing as much as Mbappe. I believe so, because I'm a believer in Harry Kane ability. But Mbappe as an asset is way more valuable than Harry Kane. Way more valuable.
Yeah, Mbappe.
Yeah, I'm taking Mbappe. I love Kane, but just Mbappe, innit? Do you know what I mean? Him competing for a position with Rashford will be amazing.
Competing? Did you just say competing?
KJ, cut Terry off his own stream now.
Sarcasm. We're here at the Terrace. Are an inclusive bunch. You go, Colleen. Shoot your shot. Rihanna or ugly men? No in between. Lol. It's mad, is what Tevin says here. There we go. That's Colleen's type. Rihanna or ugly men. Big up everyone at this time of year. Sorry, this time last year, I was at £335. I can safely say that I've been down and need to stop drinking soda and eating out. Also, when will United return to winning the league title? Tell. First of all, congratulations. I know you've had a lot of weight loss and you got yourself in shape. So congratulations to you and well done for that. Certain people might call you a white supremacist for doing that, but I think weight loss and going to the gym is a good thing. So well done you. I've seen it online, you know, people saying like going to the gym. No, I've seen it online. Some woman who did TikTok and she literally was saying that going to the gym is a sign of right-wing, white supremacy. I didn't understand it. I was like, that's a new one on me. I'm so out of touch with the kids. But well done to you, bro. It's a nice segue, really, because we mentioned Kane already. The talk is now, and this was a story that came out yesterday, and this will lead into your question, Chike. But the story came out yesterday that from James Ducker that the Chelsea chairman, Daniel Levy, understood to have been told by Spurs owners he must sell Harry Kane this summer if he cannot persuade the striker to sign a new deal, doesn't want £100 million asset running down his contract and leaving. And I think most people sort of agree with that. Outside of Spurs agree with that. There was then a lot of talk that Man United would potentially renew their interest. There's also talk that Bayern are going to put a third deal in. What do people see happening with this Harry Kane situation? Because 3 weeks ago, Spurs fans were saying, no, we'll make him stay. We think we could convince him to sign a new deal. You fast forward 3 weeks, he's not forcing a move, but every week the idea of him leaving seems to be coming a little bit closer. What do you think, Colleen?
Honestly, I do think he's a good signing for United. I think if he goes this window, I do think it's Bayern. I think it's slightly unfortunate for United that their takeover process isn't resolved, because I think with new owners, I think you probably would have went all in for Kane this summer, depending on who that owner would be. Kane is just someone I can't figure out for the life of me. I can't figure this kid out. I can't figure out whether he has the bottle and if he's got the mentality to go somewhere and try and win some trophies. I cannot figure him out. He should go this season. If he's thinking about, protecting his legacy with Tottenham, you leave this season, you go to Bayern, and then you win a couple of trophies. You're still a Spurs legend, if you like, and you've kind of played it all safe. If he's still looking at that record, you'd be tempted to just see out this season. Don't sign a new deal. They're still going to play you. There's going to be no repercussions for him if he doesn't sign a deal. They're not going to drop him. And then you walk to United or another Prem club for free next season. So it really depends on what's his main motivator, which should be trophies. But a part of me is thinking he's still looking at that Prem record thing there. So just dig your heels in and then go somewhere for free next season, because they're not going to drop Kane if he says, I'm not going to leave this season. Daniel Levy's not going to drop him. He's too powerful and too important.
They're going to sell him for cheap, Colleen. This is what it is. They're going to cut their losses and cheap
They
him.
should. That's what they should do.
I actually said that like a month ago. People said Daniel Levy is stubborn, and I said Daniel Levy doesn't run the club by himself. There are other people around. I said there will be a sane person to whisper in his ear and tell him, listen, this is an asset. It's not like last time. He has 1 year left and he walks for free. You have to sell him, and I think he's going to get sold. Unless he signed that 400K contract with Spurs. From what I'm hearing, he is going to demand 30 million a year from Man United, which is 575. And we had a talk this morning about it. I don't think it's too much money for what he offers, in my opinion. I think people said it's crazy, it's mad. I think 500 for him is decent enough. It's good enough for what he brings to the table. I said if he joins Man United, he instantly, Onana, just that makes them above everybody else other than City. It's crazy, but that's my take on it. If he joins Man United today, Onana makes United above everybody else, including Arsenal, including Liverpool, but behind Man City. I just think so. I think he offers so much on the pitch that he makes any team competitive. Any team. I think him at Spurs, he is one of the main reasons, if not the main reasons, why they were still in the top 6 over the past 5-6 years. And he joining Man United will turn the table, in my opinion.
I personally agree. I think if we sign Kane, along with everybody else we're signing this summer, Man United challenge and have a genuine chance of winning the Premier League. He'll score 30-odd goals in the league in our team. You had 30 goals to this Man United team. You're beyond that. That gives us the extra 15 plus points you need to be in this title race and maybe win the league, plus all the other signings that you've got. And I've said for a while, I think we can do this deal. The fact that Simon Stone has played it down today tells me we're in, because Simon Stone does this a lot. He'll be the guy that plays deals down when other journalists are talking about it maybe coming back alive. But I think we're keeping really far away from it until there's almost a consensus at Tottenham to sell him. And I think once Daniel Levy kind of says, okay, and we'll do it for this price, I think Man United then step in. If we create a long drawn out saga that's very public, the price keeps rising. And I think that's what's Man United, I believe, are being sensible. Of course, Bayern could get this deal done. They're Bayern Munich. They're a very attractive football club. But I think Man United are in this deal. I think Man United have a chance. And if we get him, to answer the super chat from Chike earlier, Man United can win the Premier League next year with this signing 110%, because he's such a good leader, such a good footballer, and he'll score 30 plus goals. And you add that to a team, you go from being good, very good, dangerous to being to petrifying people. So yeah, I want it to happen again. We have to land our other signings. We can't go right, no Amrabat, no Højlund, and go and get Kane, because then I still think there's holes with rotation, and if you get a few injuries, we have to get all of them. and I believe we're going to sell players, I think we'll raise enough money to get it done. I don't think he's going to go for 110, 120 million like they were talking. I think a deal end up around the 80, 90 million pound mark could end up being done for him. And that's cheap, in my opinion, for a player that could score 25 to 30 league goals for the next 4 years. That's cheap as chips for me. That's cheap as chips.
What about the wage? What about the wage? Are you worried at all about that wage reported 30 million a year, 550 a week? Are you worried at all?
What do you think, Staffy? 30 million a year, or make it about half a million pound a week ish, give or take. Do you think that's too much money to give Harry Kane?
First of all, how real are these talks about him getting 30 mil a year? Because what is he on right now compared to how much?
250. So that's doubling his money.
So 30 mil a year. 30 mil is what?
Like it's about 550, 575.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like Terrace said, it's doubling. Listen, it's a bit pricey, but to be honest, I would be paying it because, like, as you guys saw last season, you're getting in, besides Haaland, you're getting a 25 to 30 goals a season striker, and there's not a lot of them left. I don't think with 1 year left on his contract with Spurs, he should be worth a lot of money when being sold. But I do think that this is going to be his biggest contract. He is technically in his prime, 29 years old. That is your prime. Going to play in one of the biggest clubs in the world, arguably the biggest one in England. 500K a week sounds pretty reasonable to me, because like Haaland gets paid more than that, and Kevin De Bruyne gets paid around that. So it just sounds like a reasonable price for me. This guy comes in, and most people would expect United to win the league or compete for the league. I'm not saying we will, but there's a lot of talks that if he joins United, these are going to be the talks all around the country. So I do think he would be worth the money. Like that salary sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, like a few people in the comments saying, can Man United afford it? Ronaldo was earning $500,000 a week and he left, so you've got that money back. De Gea was on 350,000 a week. He is gone. What's his name? Phil Jones was on 100 grand a week. He's gone. Yes, there's some new players come in, and some players like Rashford have had pay increases, but there is enough money there for Harry Kane.
He cleared a lot of wages, Terry. Yeah.
For me,
Fred is gone, and
then that sounds too competent for the current United owners, in my opinion, to get all those signings and that.
But no, I hear you on that. But do you know what's interesting about this summer? Like, so far, we've got business done how we wanted it to. It's taken a bit, even with this Rasmus Højlund deal. The talk was that they want 80, and now for the first time from Italy in this whole saga with Rasmus Højlund, they're like, yeah, there's thoughts now that they'll accept the 60 million euros. And Man United have been quite resolute, and I've been waiting for us to do this for a long time. Equally, this also, look, if this Kane deal happens, it's also a message to football fans: stop expecting your team to do all their business in June, because if we sign and did all our money in June, and then Kane becomes available in July or August, you've already done your load. Sometimes you've got to be patient and play that longer game. But in terms of the salary, Mo, listen, in my opinion, Harry Kane comes to Man United and in 4 years, he scored 120 goals for us. So, yeah, I couldn't care. No one will care about the money. No one will care because he'll score 120 goals in 4 years for Man United Football Club. Of course, if he's fit. So, yeah, no worries about it at all. And it will be a deal that will put Man United back into genuine title contention, and rivals will be petrified of the idea of Kane playing for a team that wants to win trophies. And I know everyone will, because it will get hate. It will get laughed at. There'll be heat. I know what the rivals will say. Oh, you spent money before and it didn't work. We didn't have Ten Hag. We didn't have Bruno as captain. We didn't have a team as good as this. And listen, if we get new owners as well, we'll go to an even higher level. So yeah, I'm excited about the idea of this deal. Anybody else think that title charge for United with Kane is too far-fetched?
No, it's to be expected. It
has to be expected.
I say the same thing with Arsenal when they sign Rice. Now it's expected. No more Mr. Oh, you know what? We tried really hard. No, it's an expectation now.
I would personally demand it.
How many points did United get last season? Like what? 74?
76.
76. Kane is 10 more points. 86 points. You're in a title challenge as long as City don't go ballistic again.
I'll be honest. Take it from me. 86 points against City.
No, I said as long as City don't go ballistic.
Callum's got the PTSD. He's going from Vietnam flashback.
I've been there since 2013. 86 points ain't enough. It's not.
Don't forget, because City won the league on 86 points in 2021. And I know you fell off, but like they still won the league on 86
exactly
points.
Because they stopped caring.
No, but even last season, 89 points won the league.
To be honest, they could have finished with more. They didn't take the last 2 games seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's what I said. As long as City don't go ballistic again and get like 95, 98, 100
But when
points,
did they only don't go ballistic? If Man United start challenging Man City, do you think Pep's going to sit there and go, we'll just take it easy? He's going to take it up a notch. I'm telling you guys, I've been here since 2013. If you go into a title race with City, it's going to the last minute of the last game of the season. And
no, but Roy's just saying 10 points like that, you know. But when you're being really constructive about it, like when you look at our form last season away from home, it was really terrible. I think we lost 7 games away from home. I forgot how many draws we had. So our away record was horrible. We won less than half our games away from home. Now at home we were amazing. Now you add. This team already improved with the current additions that we had and the players that we got rid of. So the team already improved. Now, when you add Kane to that, I do think it's more than just 9 to 10 points because you don't lose 7 games away from home when you add a striker who scored 30 goals. Now, I don't know how many of his goals come away from home, but Kane, we do know he's a very, very good striker. So he comes in, you pick up some points that you shouldn't be losing. Yeah, maybe you're not going to pick up the points in Anfield and Emirates and that. Yeah, you'll still kind of struggle with those games because those are big games. But the easy games that we lost, when you lose to West Ham and Brentford away from home, and that these are the games that you're picking up, the points that you're picking up. So you're talking about something between 10 to 15 points. Now, does that make you win the league? Probably. There's an argument to have there. You know, you don't know how good City are going to be this year, but there's an argument to have.
Here's what Kane offers that I think that Man United is lacking. So Man City have these players that can win games single-handedly, like get you out of trouble. But the difference between Man City and everybody else, they have like 2, 3 of them. They have a Gundogan, they have KDB, they have even Riyad Mahrez. You remember against Spurs, won the game. I think now Man United having Kane is that this 1-0 game, 2-1 game, 1-1 game, he can win these games. That's what he adds to the team. And you, to win the league, you need to have these players in your squad. Like even Saka for Arsenal last year, some games you would like, okay, I'm taking this game. Huh? Yes. Which is like, if everybody's in trouble, I'm winning the game. It's me. And Man City have many of them. Man United, I don't believe they have any of these guys. As of now, Kane is probably 2 of these guys by himself. I think he can win games by himself. It's not about 10 points or 15 points or something. I think he gets them out of trouble when they need someone. As of now, they don't have anybody.
Well, Man United, Marcus Rashford, I think, he's one of the highest in Premier League history for game winning goals. He's very, very good at it, but you need more than that. Bruno's won us quite a few games.
Yeah, I think Bruno's a match winner, to be honest.
The problem that you have is that we only have 2 that can do it, and if they're having off days or they don't, you add a third to that. You had a 4th to that. You had a 5th to that. That's when Liverpool and City have won so many titles and been in the title races in the last 5-6 years. Why those teams have done so well, it's been those multiple match winners that they've all had. So I do agree with you. It's definitely needed at the club.
But
I disagree, Terry. I don't think it's the match winners. I think it's the systems at Liverpool and Man City. Like most teams have match winners, but the system is what is the key. Like Guardiola took certain players out of the team last season and they still went and won a treble. It's the system. Match winners help, obviously, but the system, Liverpool at their best was under a Jurgen Klopp system that had been honed, trained, and understood and established. Pep Guardiola, same situation. For Arteta to close the gap like he did last season, for me, was massive. But he's still got to close it again. And he's been there longer than Ten Hag has. I rate Ten Hag as a better manager than Arteta. And I'm not even saying this for banter or anything. I think he's a better manager than Arteta. But Arteta's been there for longer. He's had more time to get a settled formation, settled system, settled players. For Ten Hag to do it, even with Kane, Kane's phenomenal. I think Kane, even with Haaland, is the best striker in the league. And I rate Haaland highly before anyone comes for me there. I just think Kane is that guy. But you're going up against a team in Man City that have been there and done it under Pep Guardiola. And you might take out a Kyle Walker, but they'll just replace him with a Lewis and he'll replicate his game. And the system is key to this. The match winners help, but the system is what thrives. And that's why even with Man United and Chelsea outspending Liverpool were able to go on bigger and better runs and win more things than these clubs. And Man City, obviously, at a different level. It's the system behind the world-class player.
I agree with you, Callum, but in just the system, I think is the fundamental. Like you have to have a system to be able to win the league, which is the system that works against 15 to 16 teams. The rest is that when Mo Salah just stepped up against Spurs and just scored that, you remember that goal? And when he stepped up against Man City and does that, Mane, some games. Yes, the system is there. Erik ten Hag already, I see them at home playing a good football at home. Away from home, they struggle.
But the system's the one that keeps the clean sheet. So Mo Salah
I get what you're saying.
But the system's got to be in place to keep that clean sheet so that Worldy.
We just agree that the system is fundamental. I get what the system is, the base. You have to have a system. But if you have a system and you don't have winners like Salah's or Mane's when you guys had KDB, sometimes the machine gets stuck and it needs someone to unclog it. 100%. And that's the player that
what I'm saying. Man United system, sorry, their machine isn't built yet. And that's nothing on Ten Hag. He's only been there for, say that again?
It is. We have had a system this past year. Now but
it's not. But it's
a lot of stuff is like
It's not.
I never said you don't have a system.
It's not optimized yet.
Yeah, your system isn't fully built yet. It can't be after 1 year.
No. Listen, the system can be implemented in a year. You can argue that a system that existed for 4 or 5 years is much better. I agree with you there. If you're talking
who's
about
got a better system, Man City or Man United?
No, of course, Man City. That's what I'm saying.
Who's got better individual players?
Also Man City, but this is not
right. So they're in a better position
of course,
to beat you, right? So that's what I'm saying.
No, but my point was to go back to say that we do have our system.
What happened?
No, but your system's not fully built yet. Your system is in the process of being built.
Yeah, I don't think Ten Hag wants to play like this all the time, personally.
Yeah,
but what is
Harry Kane and Onana offers?
But we saw against Arsenal in the first half a difference. Now I know it's only pre-season, so we have to see more of it. But it was the first game we've had against Arsenal, home or away, in the last, I think, 5 meetings where in the first half where we picked predominantly our best team. It's the first time in 5 meetings of Arsenal where we've had more of the ball than them. And I was actually quite impressed with Mason Mount. Didn't do anything spectacular, but just kept the ball, helped it be recycled, moved it into the right positions. And there's a long way to go. I think you'll see an evolution. I do agree with Cal to a large extent. I think we can be in a title race. I still make Man City the favourites because of how long they've had their manager and everything else. But the likes of Kane and Onana, and the other deal that's reportedly really close now, 3 to 5 million euros they're talking in Italy, is Amrabat. I think you add another midfield player like him into the team. Because when Cass was missing last year, we had problems. And I think you add him in and get Højlund, who I think looks absolutely deadly. Man United are going to be a massive handful for teams next year. I want to go to somebody's super chat. So first one says, bring Harold Kane back to Arsenal.
I would love, and I think I would deserve another Sol Campbell-esque unveiling. That would be, I would die happy.
I think Arsenal fans, and I want to ask this to the viewers as well, and you, Cole, would you welcome him back with open arms?
I think it makes it even better, his whole career at Tottenham and how it's all gone if he was to walk to Arsenal now. Even if his career, even if it wasn't half as good as what it was, absolutely. Just to see them lose their minds, inject it. Bring back teletext, let the update come up from there, let them not have any interaction with social media. Amazing.
Listen, that's one of the reasons why Spurs should sell him, because I just got this horrible gut fit. Something like that could happen. And people go, no, never. So again, I'm old enough to remember it happening with Sol Campbell, and everybody said that it wouldn't. So,
but I guess on that Tottenham point, then we've kind of talked about how Kane was strengthened United. Where do Tottenham go from here? If you're Tottenham after the season they've just had with Ange coming in, where do Tottenham go from here? What is their bar? What's their level?
It's a great question. So on that, to go to bottom half the league, but no, they're linked with. They were linked with Vlahovic. They've also today been linked by Sasha Tavolieri with, I want to pronounce his name right, the Frankfurt striker. Muani, that's it. They've been linked with him.
You can't sign that guy.
Why? What's wrong with him?
He's in the Saliba video. That's enough for me. That's enough for me.
Is he?
He's the guy. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't know the video, but he's the guy.
I think he's got quality though.
Yeah, but you can't have that kind of mentality go around your club, man. You can't.
I'm sure you could.
Is that a thing young people do now, David? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I love how you're asking David. He put David, on the spot. Like David, you answer.
David's the only one on here that I would call young. Like the rest of us are all a little bit old. Do you know what I mean?
Staffy. Wait, how old's Staffy?
I don't reveal my age anymore.
He's old, bro. He's old.
Staffy's about 33.
He's your uncle, bro.
He's not older than me, surely not.
He's definitely older than you.
Mad. I thought Staffy was a kid, you know. Oh wow.
I do have a baby face, but no,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
older.
Yeah, he's old man.
No, you don't.
I
Why are you hating, bro? Why are you hating? You're such an angry person, bro.
What is that? He's like, yeah, I have baby face. I'm cute. I'm like,
yeah,
I did not say I'm cute, okay? Don't reword what I'm saying. I'm not about that.
I got a baby face. Well, ask Colleen, does he have a baby face or not? Like,
Listen,
I think you
get
do
it
have a
lot,
bit of a
that's
baby.
what I'm
I think you
saying.
do have a bit of a baby face.
and we'll
Thank
do
you,
this.
brother.
We'll put him in
Yeah.
big. We'll put him up on screen. We can all see.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of a baby face.
Yeah, there we go. I actually think, I'll answer your question, Cole. I think Spurs will improve. I almost feel like there'll be this, if he leaves, there'll kind of be this notion of they're done now, Spurs. And I think that'll galvanize the team. I think it'll make other people, I think it'll make other people step up. You think, what do you think, Roy? Go on.
There's no way Spurs can get better if Kane leaves. That's just not possible. But there's a way they can survive without him leaving. And now, me personally, this is someone I've done a lot of prop for before. If you see my Twitter, you know I'm a big fan of him. I would personally ride it out with Richarlison for 6 months and knock on Brentford's door and say, bring me Ivan Toney. That's what I would do. I think Ivan Toney, profile-wise, is the closest player to Harry Kane in European football. He's got pretty much, maybe not to the same range or execution in terms of passing and finishing, but he's got pretty much all of Kane's traits. Obviously, he's not as good as him, and I don't think he'll ever be as good as him. But in terms of profile-wise, I would hang with Richarlison for 6 months. I believe Ange can coach him into a better player than he was last season. And then, January 17th, when Tony's ban ends, you knock on Brentford's door and say, 50, 60 million, bring me that number 17. You bring him to where these words? N5, N16? I don't know whether N17, wherever they are. N17. And then I believe if Richarlison can hold it down and then they get Tony in January, they could potentially grab a top 4 spot.
But he can't.
Whoa.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
No, I'm telling you, if Spurs get the signings they need, because like I said, I believe Ange is a top manager.
Hang on.
You lot all heard.
Hang on. I'm gonna let you explain in a minute, but you just said to me there's no way they improve if Kane leaves, and you just predicted them fucking improving.
No. Hold on. I didn't say hold on. I didn't say top 4 was impossible with Kane there. Like they can get top 4. Like
you said they wouldn't improve, and you just put them 4 or 5 places higher in the league.
No. I'd never said where they're ending up if Kane stays.
But if he leaves, an improvement is up.
Hold on.
Let me explain myself.
Hold on. Where do they finish if Kane stays then?
If Kane stays and they get the signing that they need, maybe like one more midfielder, and they get Tapsoba or Van de Ven or whichever centre back the link with the partner Romero, I think they can finish 4th, but 4th or 5th.
But if Kane leaves, they still get top 4.
No. If Harry, these are the hypotheticals. If Harry Kane leaves, that's the first hypothetical, and Richarlison can hold it down for 6 months. I'm not saying score 17, 20 league goals before January. I'm just saying, do your job and don't be a net negative. And then you go and grab Ivan Toney in January, who I believe is the closest Kane profile in the whole of Europe. I believe Ange is good enough to get that side top 4.
At the expense of
they will get
Ten
it.
Hag, Newcastle, another one of those.
They
Who've
got a
been there for a
chance.
bit longer.
Who's scoring the goals for Tottenham?
The old manager of Kangaroo.
Like
He
I
just
said,
told you guys. He
guys,
just
I
told you
just told you.
Richarlison. He just told you.
IF, that's a hypothetical word, guys. If Richarlison can hold it down for 6 months, so I believe Tony's guaranteed goals.
No, we heard your hypothetical. It just ain't making sense.
Tony's guaranteed goals. I don't care what anyone
Well, who
says.
says Tony wants to go there?
No,
Wait, do you guys not rate?
He's
Do
not.
you guys
He's not
rate
rejecting.
Richarlison?
He's not rejecting Spurs to stay at Brentford. Like, what are we doing?
What is
Richard's
right?
not a
All
good
jokes aside,
footballer.
because Spurs is a big name team, right? What's
He's
their
not rejecting
project?
Spurs to stay at Brentford.
What's it? If I'm Ivan Toney, sell me Spurs' project. What's their project?
You say we've got a fantastic new manager in. We've made good signings.
What?
Terry laughed at the first
Why-
sentence. He said
why
new
do you
manager, and he laughed.
Wait, guys, hear me out here. Guys,
You're building your whole argument based on him being a fantastic manager. Like
no, because
that's
I
the whole
believe Ange's a
argument.
fantastic
All right,
manager.
guys, hang on. Let's do Roy a turn here. Go on, explain it to us, Roy, my boy.
So, like I said, there's no way Tony is rejecting Spurs to stay at Brentford. Like, unless he falls over and bangs his head, that's not happening. Now, from Spurs' perspective, you mention your great stadium, your great training facilities, all this stuff. You say we've got a fantastic manager. You gas up your new signings. You say James Maddison, he's a guy who can create chances for you. Romero and whoever the other centre back is they sign, they can hold it down at the back. You gas up Ange's system, which I believe is top tier. You just give every single positive bit you can. Whether it's like you gas up, even if you think a guy's mid, you gas him up. Gas up their players, their managers, training
Ivan
staff,
Toney's not
stadium.
stupid, bro. If someone's mid,
stuff.
he's gonna see through it.
No. Like I said, it's not Spurs squad.
If I said to you right now,
go on.
I've got a Bentley outside on the drive, you're gonna be like, no, you don't, Cal.
Okay, Roy. If your hypotheticals are right,
yeah.
If your hypotheticals are right, and they think if they do everything you just said, get Tony, Richarlison holds it down, whatever, and you think they can finish top 4.
I think it's possible.
Who in this world, who is your top 4? Because I just don't see anyone else dropping out at the expense of Spurs excelling because of Ange and that's that kind of scenario.
By the way, next season is top 5, guys. Just a reminder.
It's fair, top 5 gets CL, but I personally think let's say everyone gets who they're linked with. No crazy links. I'm not talking like Liverpool we're going to sign Mbappé or Haaland's going to go to United or anything like that. Let's say everyone gets who they've been rumored with. I believe City are going to be there. I believe Arsenal are going to be there. I believe United are going to be there. And I think Spurs could potentially, if Liverpool don't really get the metrics right and the optics right, they could potentially finish above them. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying it's possible. I'm saying it's possible.
What metrics? Yeah, but it's also possible that Bournemouth end up in the top 4. But it's
you want Kane to leave Spurs? Wait. You want Kane to leave Spurs? You want Kane to leave Spurs?
No, I didn't say I want Kane to leave Spurs.
No, not want them. But in this argument, Kane is leaving Spurs, and then they're finishing ahead of Liverpool.
I never said they are. I said it's possible.
Okay,
they can finish 5th, and I'll be like, okay, that's not right.
I have a question.
A team that lost their best player is finishing ahead of Liverpool. A team that's supposed to come back. A team that I despise, but I can easily say that they'll be in the mix for the top 4 next season easily.
Yeah,
you think them using their star player, and they could do that. I mean, a lot of things can happen. I can wake up and I can win the lottery.
Liverpool have
I want to bet on it.
Liverpool still have to fit in McAllister. They'll have to fit in Szoboszlai.
I know what you're doing, Roy.
Right?
Roy, I know what you're doing, Roy. There's a writer strike in Hollywood right now, and he's hoping someone's watching. He's like, I don't strike. I'm going to write these.
No, Roy, I have a question for you.
Story there,
I have a question for you, Roy.
Go on.
Do you think that Ange is a fantastic manager? What if Tony doesn't think that?
I don't think. I think if you explain Ange properly to him, there's no way you'll think otherwise. Tactically, he's top tier. He's been a winner wherever he's gone. He's a fantastic manager. Look at his talent ID. He was picking up so many gems at Celtic. Like, Ange has a lot. I told you, Ange is a fantastic manager.
But
if Tony,
you're sat here explaining to me why you think Ange is a fantastic manager, and I still don't believe you.
No, that's fine. Like Tony doesn't believe you. Your hands are tied.
That's David. That's not Tony.
But I believe you. Listen. I believe Tony's an intelligent guy. I believe, obviously, he's made
that's why he won't believe what you just said.
He made a couple sketchy decisions. I believe, right?
That's my whole point.
He said he's an intelligent guy. Thank you. That's why this is all bullshit.
I'm gonna go to some of these super chats here. First one says, Roy, stop hanging around with the gal, is what LJ Brown says here. Luton top 4, be positive, it's possible, is what Anthony says. Respect Bruce, his ball knowledge is better than Tuchel's. This is something that Roy once said, ladies and gentlemen, that Roy has talent ID than Thomas Tuchel. Anyway, I see Ange getting Son back to his best, is what a rude boy says. He could. Colleen, when you old, I'll be waiting for you like the MLS.
It's kind of funny, actually.
That is quite funny. That's a good super chat. We'll come back to what one is in a minute. This comes back to the system thing from earlier. System means that the manager needs to replicate success with different players. Pep has been doing that for the past 5 to 6 years. Same for Klopp. Arteta and Ten Hag will need to prove this season.
Don't put Ten Hag and Arteta in the same sentence together when it comes to that. One has been there for what? This is his 4th full year coming up, and my manager, this is his 2nd year. Don't do that. This guy's definitely an Arsenal fan. He tried to sneak that one in. You're not going to do that.
Do you think we'll come back to the Arsenal stuff when we speak about Arsenal a bit later in the show? But the City system has lost pieces. It has, but they might replace them. They probably will replace them. This says Kane, and I don't know how to say this in Portuguese, but it means my captain will make a great partnership. Oh, they will. Kane and Bruno together. Oh my days. Oh, honestly, I'm getting a bit hard thinking about it. I'm not even joking.
Transition with Kane, 40-yard ball in behind Rashford's toe, right on the end of it. Bang.
Boom.
You have a lot of scenarios, Roy. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
This is back to the Mbappe stuff saying European bias. World Cup is still more popular. Yeah, maybe. Terry even talked crap on Pele when the Brazilian league was harder than Europe back then. No, you must have misheard me, Enigma. I was talking about how when Pele was playing league football, South America was very, very strong. So you must have, honestly, you must not have listened properly because I defended it. So you got that one wrong.
You did say that, I remember.
Mbappe has been a hero in the Farmers League. Come to the Premier League and he will face the music and compete with the real talent, Haaland, Salah, Kane. That's what I'd love him to come do that. It'd be great. Doesn't need to stay 2 years for it to be tax-free. Potentially, but listen, listen. I worked in offshore banking. There's loads of workarounds, bro.
There's loads of workarounds. Avoidance. There's so much tax avoidance you could do.
It's not tax avoidance. It is called creative accounting. We have that right. Please.
Oh, sorry.
Tax avoidance, wrong word. Chike said I've lost £50 in 1 year, Terry. That's a lot to lose, bro. Well done, you. Well done, you. On Chelsea, it's now reported by Jacob Steinberg, who's very, very, very credible, that the situation between Chelsea, Caicedo, and Bayern Munich, Brighton, they're acting like bloody Bayern Munich in this deal, is now an impasse. In case anyone watching doesn't know what that means, I had to Google it. It means stalemate or like it's a deadlock for Caicedo. So the deal is actually stalled, and Brighton have told Steinberg that they are willing to go to deadline day to fight for what they want in this deal. So it looks like, as of right now, Chelsea are not getting their main midfielder anytime soon. How detrimental is that for your season? Cheers, Cal. I appreciate it, bro.
No, I was gonna ask one question.
Oh,
what is it Brighton want for Caicedo? Because I know a team
close to Declan Rice fee, I think.
They want 100 mil. They want
100 mil.
Yeah, we're out of it. My bad for asking. Apologies for holding the show up.
No worries, mate. You didn't hold the show up.
Just sell the Bugatti in your the Bentley. Sorry, just sell it.
Sell the Bentley. David, is this going to be detrimental to your season? Because if you can't integrate a new midfield before the season begins, could this be damaging for your new campaign ahead?
Depends what your expectations are of the season. Again, I am in a position where it's like I still don't expect much from Chelsea. Even though we've signed quite a lot of good players, I'm still waiting to see how the squad actually looks, because when I look at our squad that's currently on pre-season tour, that screams 8th to me. It's not good enough yet. So if your position is Chelsea should be challenging straight away, it is going to be detrimental. But if your position is like mine, where it's like Chelsea should be preparing effectively not for this year, but for next year to really start kicking on, then it's not the end of the world. I personally think in this deal, though, this impasse talk is code for they're going to go away for a couple of days, come back, and then suddenly a magical agreement is going to be found. Because that tends to happen quite a lot. You'll see it with clubs when they say, oh, we will not sell this player under any circumstance. Give it 5 days. Normally that player is having a medical somewhere. Like these things just tend to happen. I think it's just talk for they're still talking about it, but it's obviously Brighton.
Caicedo wouldn't have signed a new deal to not be sold in the summer because he's already made clear he wants to go.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do dirty like that.
Yeah, I don't think they would. That would go down horribly, and I think it'd backfire on them. I think he definitely goes.
And also, in terms of future implications, like if Brighton promise him in January that you can go in summer and they don't sell him, and they get another talent who could potentially get another move in future, this guy's going to be like, hold on, they did Caicedo dirty. I don't know if I can trust these guys, and that could be a potential turner for young talents. And we know that in terms of how they make their money and how they've been shooting up the table, it's been buying all these young players, nurturing them, and then selling them on for a big fee, and then just replacing and just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, are Chelsea fans a little bit worried about someone else coming with a bid that is what Brighton want? I'm not really worried, to be honest.
Not really. From the jump, I said I had faith in Bowley. I said Bowley will not let Arsenal get Rice and Caicedo. I said Bowley will not let that happen. I refuse. He won't let it happen.
But you're
They'll
not
get
getting
one.
Caicedo now. That's what just Terry said.
Mo, let me tell you the stone cold truth. Caicedo will be a Chelsea player by the end of the transfer window. Clip that, timestamp it. I don't care what you do. By the end of the transfer window, Moises Caicedo will be a Chelsea player. I will tell you that for free. So they're not going to get 100 million. They're just doing that because they're probably a bit salty that we just beat them. So they're just digging their feet in the sand and all this stuff. I personally believe it gets done for about 85 to 90 million, but we 100% got our player because we can't afford to lose out on him.
That's exactly what Arsenal fans said, Roy. That's exactly, and
no, but Arsenal got
more than the asking price.
Yeah, but that's what Mo's saying though. Like you paid a what was it 105 for Enzo? They're looking at that probably going, well, Caicedo is a better player than when you signed Enzo for 105, and he's got Prem experience. Why the hell are we going to sell for less than that?
I believe them promising him he could go means that they'll be a bit leaner in negotiations. Because don't forget, Benfica had literally just signed Enzo 6 months ago. They signed him in January of
and you had to activate his release clause.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that wasn't even.
You didn't buy the guy, Roy. Roy, you didn't buy the guy. You activated the release clause.
Yeah, and I get it, but like I said, Caicedo signed on the promise that they would let him go in summer, and I believe if it looks like we'll walk away, I believe Brighton will lower their standards and they'll say, you know what?
Yeah,
maybe we can't.
That's not my question, Roy. That's not my question. That's not my question, Roy. My question was clear. As Arsenal did, and they stole or whatever, they lowballed or whatever, and at the end, City offered something. If someone else come and offer what they want, you'll have to pay more.
Yeah, well, Matt,
are you not worried?
Someone
said in the comments, Man City might be in the market for a midfielder. Yeah. Someone else might be. Man United might get more on for a midfielder.
If Arsenal come in, or if City come in, or Liverpool come in, we will 100% match it. We will not let that slide because I personally think, from the club's perspective, this is a must-buy. So eventually, you're gonna have to put the bread down. Like you have to get a deal done. We can't miss out on him. Like I'll be so honest. Our season with him and our season without him, right now, is two very different outlooks. So I believe this is a player that you have to buy, and like Arsenal did, sometimes you got to put the bread down. I do believe that promise means that they might not get as much as they want, but if push comes to shove, we'll put the bread down and we'll get our player. But I refuse to believe we miss out on him.
Yeah, I don't think you miss out on him. See you later, Cal. Cheers, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers, G. Thank you, mate. Speak to you soon. Top man. Cal is leaving us, and man like Dom is here to replace him on the show. Look at that seamless sub. I don't think it's about whether they get him or not. I think Chelsea get it done. It's about the timing. It's about getting these new players integrated. And I think Chelsea looked really good. Yes, the first game they won 5-0 was against Wrexham. And I know the score line was 4-3 against Brighton, but some of the football from Chelsea looked really good. The problem that you've got is that Conor Gallagher was starting and you guys don't want to keep him. You want to get rid of him, or he's going to be sold, whether it's the club wants him out or he wants to leave. Probably they've said that you're going to be a bench player or a rotation player, and he says, I want more than that. That's probably more the middle ground. I think it's important for Chelsea to get these players in sooner rather than later, because there is such pressure on Chelsea to improve this season, because you can't get away from what they've spent. You can't get away from that. And that for me is the one bit where if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be thinking, we need to get a little bit of a wiggle on here. But this super chat from C says, Brighton want Colwill. They keep mentioning him. That is the truth. Every single time you get an update on this, is that Brighton, we still want him. That just doesn't want to go away.
I don't think
it's weird, man. It's beyond weird now. It's beyond weird. Like even the other day when De Zerbi started mentioning him, it's disrespectful. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the guy's back at his club. Do you know what I mean? He's under contract. He's a Chelsea player. A loan is a loan. You get it. You can try and get the player, but after you've been told by the parent club that he's not for sale, you move on. They've been looking at alternatives. Do you know what I'm saying? The other day, De Zerbi came out. He was saying, I wish Colwill and Caciedo can be in my team come the season. Do you know what I mean? Ten Hag wasn't saying any of this about Mason Mount. Arteta wasn't saying anything about this with Havertz. It's just unprofessional to be doing things like that. So now I hope when we get Caicedo, we report these guys, because what they're doing is mad. Is mad to me. Like you can't keep going on about a player that is clearly not for sale. And like I said 1,000,001 times when I've been on this show, I said it. I don't think we're going to get rid of him because Badiashile, number one, is injured. I think Cole was going to stay.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice. But now that Fofana is injured, I know he's a right centre back. It's complete. There's not even a debate about Cole staying. Right? It's very clear the guy's staying
as well. Like If the club have said he's staying and the manager have said he's staying, then the discussion is over.
The discussion is literally over.
Like, unless God himself says Caicedo, Colwill's going to Brighton, the discussion is over.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think
like you said, right?
Put your Chelsea hats on, because like they could quite easily say the same from their perspective. Well, they're like, well, we want 100 million. Discussion's over. They know that you want one of their players and who's been at the club, and they've obviously felt like, you know, he's kicked on. I think you're right to keep him. But if I was Brighton, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be like, you're not giving me the 100 mil I want. I want one of your players and you want one of mine. If that means shouting him out in a press conference and making you guys sweat a little bit, Chelsea are not adverse to any dirty tactics. Let's not pretend. So I feel like
but there's ways of doing it.
You give what you get, really.
But okay, Khalid, if I ask you, is it right that they keep persisting on Colwill, a player that we've clearly said is not for sale?
It's not my style, but I can see why they're doing it. If I was in Brighton's position,
you call it as it is. It's talking about Chelsea not being in Europe.
Let's not be intellectually dishonest here. Like, what are we doing?
Come on, guys. In Brighton's position, they're like, they've told you guys several times they want 100 million for Caicedo. We know that they've asked for that. Whether you pay that or not is a different story.
Yeah, but Kane, we've debunked that already.
Yeah, but they haven't sold. He's not a Chelsea player yet. You guys are still in discussions for him.
Yeah, but what they're doing, they're using Rice as a benchmark. What I'm saying is, you can't use Rice. You can't use the amount for Declan Rice as a benchmark.
Well, they can do whatever they want.
As much as Caciedo, they can do what they want. He's their player. But what I'm saying is, you can't use Declan Rice as a benchmark, right? Because Declan Rice is a seasoned Premier League player. He's been doing this for 5-6 seasons. West Ham captain, just won a trophy. Like I said, they haven't won a trophy 43 years. He just done it. I think that the amount for Rice is extreme, but I've literally just been saying in the group chat that there's more reasons to justify that amount for Declan Rice. As much as I think Cacedo's got a higher ceiling, 85 million is more than reasonable, because even that's a bump.
But no,
what about Enzo? What about Enzo?
That's what I was going to say.
I've explained this already, Mo. Enzo, we paid the amount that we did because they did not want to let him leave in January, because unless we paid his release clause. So what we did was paid over the release clause to get him in January. If we waited till summer, we would have paid a lot less. But that means that Madrid are involved. That means that Man City are involved. That means that United are involved.
People, though, like if I'm looking at Chelsea, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I don't think Caicedo was worth 100 million, but I didn't think Declan Rice was either. But you pay what you think they're worth, whatever agreement you come to. But if you're Brighton and you've just seen, and the whole world has seen how Chelsea have been spending money the past 12 months, I don't think they're gonna. I would do the same. I would make your life so much more difficult. They want to eat too. Like, especially, I would be like, well, if you're spending that money on everyone else, but you're haggling with me around 30 mil, I'd be just.
That's what I'm saying, though. They can try that. They can try their luck. But what I'm saying is,
that's why they want your boy.
It's deluded. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's why they want him.
Listen, it'll be deluded to think they're going to get 100. They can put it up to £100 million. Yeah. Same thing we did with like Mason Mount. For example, we said 85 million at the beginning. We were never going to get that. Let's be real. The reason why we did that was to meet in the middle. And Brighton, they need to wake up and smell the coffee and understand the situation. We are not going to pay 100 million for Caciedo. You can ask for that amount, but we're going to have to meet in the middle. Clubs do this all the time.
Yeah, so their middle is Colwill.
The way you talk, Don, do you have leverage? The way you talk, Don, is that
we do have leverage. We do have leverage. Caciedo is pushing for the move. He's pushing for the move.
That's your leverage.
That is our leverage. Yes, that we do have some leverage because he wants to leave. He's accepted terms. They made it clear in January that, listen, if you stay, we're going to up your money and we're going to allow you to leave. Deserby literally said,
Colwill as well.
Let me finish.
If Colwill wants to finish.
Let me finish. Deserby literally said McAllister and Caicedo are for sale. He basically said they're going to leave the club, right? So we have the leverage. It's clear they want to sell the player. They're just being spiteful because of Colwill. Do you get it? If we turn around and say, yeah, we'll sell Colwill, this will get done. It will get here we go tomorrow afternoon. It'll be done.
There's no one else that can afford to buy Caicedo right now because everyone. Hold on, Mo. There's everyone else filled in their midfield already. You got Bryce who got his move. We got Mason Mount. Everyone who needed a midfielder. Liverpool got McAllister. They're the only guys right now that are left that still need a midfielder. So if you're sitting here and the whole top six wants Caicedo, yes, I'm sure we all want him, but we're actually in for him and we're ready to pay the money, then you could say, yes, they have more leverage than Chelsea do. But Chelsea is realistically the only buyer right now. So they do have leverage other than him actually wanting to come to the club. Now, when you're the only seller and I'm the only buyer, we can't both sit here and act like I have more superiority over you, like, because it's not the case. If there's multiple sellers, multiple buyers, it's a whole different market. But you're talking about one-on-one right now. So we need to sit down and actually agree on something, because as much as you need to sell and the player wants to join me, I need to buy him. You can't bully me and I can't bully you. So yes, Chelsea do have some leverage in this.
My comparison with this was the Declan Rice situation, because Arsenal thought they have leverage. I don't know what happens in the background, but Declan Rice, Arsenal Football Club thought they have leverage. He wants to go, West Ham wants to sell, and Arsenal wants to buy. And at the end, it happened on West Ham terms, as far as we know. That's what I'm just using that as an example. So that example tells me that maybe Brighton thinking the same as Colleen said. They are thinking, if that happened on West Ham's terms, why can this happen on our terms as well? But Chelsea are stalling. Chelsea are not paying. We think we have leverage here, Brighton, because he's our player. Yes, he signed the contract. We promised him the sale, but a sale for a price we think is his value. That's my
Mo. Let me ask you a question, Mo. Then, just to fire that back at you. Do you forget Brighton? Let me ask you. Yeah, do you think that you can compare Declan Rice, his time in the Premier League, in comparison to a player that's had Premier League experience a year and a half?
No. 100% no.
This is exactly why.
Listen, it's not me. It's not me. Listen, Don, you're talking to us. It's not me. We are actually saying what Brighton think, what you think Brighton are thinking. It's not us. I'm not selling Caicedo. You see.
I'm just saying, innit? I'm just saying.
I hear you guys. I want to go to some of these super chats here. Winter Surfer, how you doing, bro? I hope you're good. He says, let's not be hypothetical. It's a seller's market. Brighton can ask for whatever they want. It's all in their hands. Enzo is the benchmark, not Rice. Stop crying, Chelsea, is what Anthony says here. Anton says Brighton are salty that they let McAllister for cheap, and the fact that they won't get Colwill. But let's be real. Chelsea just pay. We need him. Hashtag Cole the goals is what Anton says there.
I pick up Anton, man.
Here's Anton. Tony Bloom is the Brighton Daniel Levy. If I see that guy, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in very big trouble. Is what Nathaniel.
I hope Brighton get relegated. A word to time, and I hope they get relegated.
Caicedo should have put a release clause on his new deal. Yeah, he should have done. He should have done that. Dan here says stuff Brighton gets Lucien who?
I don't even know who that is.
He's an interplayer.
That same age and profile is what Dan Walker. I've never heard of him.
Guys, we need to get it out of our heads that there isn't an alternative at the level of Moises Caicedo for what we need right now. This is our main target. We're not walking away and going for someone else. Yeah. We've already lost out on Ugarte.
The only player I'm walking away for is a Frenchman at Real Madrid who doesn't have dreads. That's the only guy that I'm walking away from this deal for. That's only if that's a guarantee. But Madrid has said he's not for sale, so it's Caicedo or bust.
There we go. Thank you, Dan. Tevin here says Bruce riding out for the Australian. Love to see it. Is what he says there. Isn't Finding Nemo set in Australia, isn't it?
Stop it! Stop it
It is. This is the big scenes in Sydney. The Chelsea and Caciedo deal is weird. We know they have the money, especially from the outgoings they've made, but as he should put a release clause in there. Yeah, it's a seller's market. It's a seller's market. They know that he's needed. You can keep pushing the price up. Man United got Mount for less than Chelsea wanted to sell him because they had that deal wasn't in the seller's market because Chelsea had to clear out players. So Man United win that negotiation. Caicedo isn't. I don't know what they're meant to be, those things, because I can't see them on here. Okay, there we go. Has no commercial value. He's only been in the Prem for 1 year. He hasn't won any trophies. What are we talking about here is what Ike says.
We'll set a dangerous precedent. You guys want to say Chelsea keep inflating the market, but then you want us to pay the 100 million. So it will affect everyone, not just Chelsea going forward. So
imagine a 200 million pound pivot. Like that is out. That's crazy.
Well,
that is the crazy thing that Chelsea did, Roy. Is that what you said? That's crazy.
No, I mean,
everything else is not crazy.
I believe Caicedo and Enzo is a fantastic pivot. I believe it's absolutely brilliant. But I'm just saying the fact that we've got a 200 million pound pivot of a 21 and a 22-year-old is
There's a big question that's come in here. This has come from O'Malley. It's a big one for the Chelsea boys. I want to go to David first on this. He says, who is more important to your immediate future, Levi Colwill or Caicedo?
Colwill, because we have no other centre backs. Purely for the reason we have no other centre backs. If we were Caicedo's, I'd say Caicedo's more important in terms of we need a midfielder more than we need a centre back. However, if you sell a centre back, we have no centre backs, and I've got to play Chalobah.
If Colwill, if we don't have Colwill, it's Chalobah and Silva. Chalobah can't play a back four, and Silva's 78, so that's not going to work.
And it would have to go in the market and then go buy a centre back if we get rid of Colwill. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
There we go. Thanks. A good question, though. I like it. This here says the only way Chelsea get Caicedo for 70 million is if another team doesn't come in for him. That's why Brighton are asking for 100 million to stall the deal. Could be
I think it's quite similar to Rice, though. Like, a lot of clubs are fully informed that he's basically made up his mind. Like, in his mind, he's a Chelsea player. That's why I think a lot of clubs aren't even bothering to get involved now. Do you get what I'm saying? I know City tried. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal ended up paying up, but I believe it's quite similar to that, where Declan Rice wanted Arsenal, Caciedo wants Chelsea. So now it's up to us to pay up.
I kind of hope it doesn't happen now, to be honest with you. Yeah. After hearing you guys' reasons, I'm like, actually, stay at Brighton.
Just for the banter part of it, right, Colin? Just for the
even banter aside, I don't want Chelsea to get Caicedo because they cannot be as strong without him. So yeah, like, I hope this doesn't happen. But yeah, I agree. I think it will in the end. This here says last season was building around Kane to score 30 goals, all the crosses into the box. The goals will come next season. Son won the Golden Boot. People forget. Listen, we'll see what happens over there. Thank you as well, by the way, King, for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. Viewers, hit like buttons and subscribe to us. We are saying slightly with Chelsea, but we're moving into the Arsenal realm as well with a deal here. According to a number of reports today, a bid close to 35 million has been submitted for the Chelsea wonder kid. Sorry, the Crystal Palace wonder kid, Michael Olise, by Chelsea. There's a few reports that have said that. Fabrice Hawkins has kind of backed this up.
Terry, I thought it was 45. Sorry to interrupt. I thought it was 45 million euros.
It's about 35 million.
I think
35 million
pounds. They wanted to pay just above the release clause, so it's almost.
Yeah, I mean, this report is in pounds. I don't know what let's just do euros to pounds there.
It's probably about
Fabrice Hawkins said 45 million euros, I think.
Which is about 38 million pounds. Yeah, again. Okay, but I'm quoting what this article says. But what they've also stated is if this deal happens for Michael Olise, this puts Arsenal into the pole position to sign Mohamed Kudus, which I think makes logical sense. I can't imagine Chelsea getting Olise and Mohamed Kudus with what else you've already got up front. It doesn't really make sense to me, especially with
we could Terry. Because because Angelo Gabriel is already been confirmed earlier that he's getting sent out on loan, right? That means we've only got Madueke on the right, who I don't know what's happening with him right now. Is he injured? He hasn't been playing.
No, he's not injured. He just came. Right. I think he came back.
Colwill just came back from that as well, and he played all the games. But Angelo Gabriel is getting sent out on loan, right? And we're getting rid of Gallagher, so we could potentially go get Kudus, who would be a midfield option, and then get Olise to actually play on the right, just stay on the right. There's a possibility we could go in for both.
Okay, I get that. Well, how do you see this going, Colin, from an Arsenal point of view? Do you think that do you think you'll be able to get this deal done, and do you think you can beat Chelsea to his signature?
I'm not. It's one of those ones that I think a lot of Arsenal fans are kind of like benchmarked in terms of adding another like forward or someone who could drop into midfield and being quite versatile, like Arteta wants. But I think it's very hard to say. I would like him to come in because I would also like someone where we can. Arteta likes someone who's really versatile. I'd also like someone to put a bit of a challenge on, not necessarily a challenge on for Saka, because I think that's a very difficult task and he's kind of his own type of player. It's very hard to bring someone in for what Saka currently gives us. But I think for Arsenal, I don't see us buying until we shift 5 or 6 more players. So if Chelsea are in for him and they're quicker, they might get there. It doesn't feel to me that it's something that is desperate to be done. Of course, strength and depth. I would love to have him at the club, but I don't think the club view it as a priority in that sense. I'm not sure if we're looking at anyone else as well. I do think it'd be great, especially being in the back in the Champions League and trying to challenge for the title and go across all 4 competitions as you do. But I'm not convinced. I think if Chelsea's quicker, they will get him, because I don't see us signing him without shifting at least 5 or 6 players, considering the amount of money we've already spent. And this, if we do buy him without selling first, the Cronkies have done well in the past couple of years, considering that we've had like we've given them a lot of stick, and rightly so. Then I would have to hold my hands up and be like, okay, right, they really are just going for it. But I don't quite see it just yet. I can see him at Arsenal, but I think a lot of dominoes would have to fall into place first, and I'm just not sure they're going to break
Doesn't
our
that
way.
align with you terminating Pepe's contract? That report that came today, this morning.
If that happens.
Because the 2 reports are together. You're terminating Pepe's contract and you're getting Mohamed Kudus, who I believe is the right
but then
winger.
it kind of goes back into the argument of, do we need to sell first before we buy, or can we just buy and then worry about sales later? I mean, that would make sense with Pepe going, but Pepe also didn't really feature at all. We didn't feature for us last season as well. So it's kind of me thinking, how much versatility are we willing to risk, and how much backup would we like there for Sakura going into the next season? Like, how much of it is a priority, because Pepe wasn't even here for us last year. That would be my ideal, terminate Pepe and get him in. I'm just not sure Arsenal will do that without selling, and then that's selling quite a few players. Then that just opens the door. Pardon?
Who do you need to sell?
I mean, we're not keeping both Nketiah and Balogun. That's just not happening. One of them will be going this summer transfer.
You know what, Colleen, you're probably the first Arsenal fan who's actually honestly said we need to get rid, because every time I'm speaking to Arsenal fans, they're like, yeah, no, just bring him in. Yeah, just bring him in. And they're not looking at the amount of players that you've got right now.
Yeah, we've got a very big squad, and there's players, even players like on the periphery, if you like. You've got the likes of Cedric, Rob Polden, those that don't really take up a big transfer fee coming in, but it's the wages. It's the wages that we're looking at. We've got 5 or 6 players that need to go because of their wages. We know they're not going to bring in a big fee. But if Balogun goes, for example, Arsenal are looking at, and this is where Arsenal fans as well need to change their perspective on things and kind of get back into the real world, because we can't satisfy Jesus, Nketiah and Balogun. And you have to say, well done, we did well to nurture this player, but we don't fancy him for our squad. We've had him for a few years since he was a teen. We sell him off for 40 million or something like that. That's kind of what you use academies for. You kind of hope that you'll get the odd 2 or 3 that will break through and then really represent you. But essentially what you do is you want to make really good players, because they can't all play for you. It's just impossible. Thanks. So you want to have a good sell-on fee and be like, thank you so much. You've repped us so well. Maybe put in a buyback clause or a percentage on in there and let him go on his way. So Balogun's the one where I think he probably will go, based on the way Arteta's been playing, based on who he's loaned out, based on pre-season. I just don't see him fancying Balogun. You get that money in, but I don't see us buying before we've sold.
Who would you prefer to keep out of Balogun and Eddie Nketiah? Who would you personally go for, Cole? You sunk into your chair there when I said that.
Because I think my answer is probably a bit unfair, and I will admit that. I'm not the biggest Nketiah fan. I really appreciate what he's done for us, especially when Jesus was out. I can't even fault him, to be honest with you. He's just not my type of forward. He's just not what I prefer to have at the club. I do like Balogun, but my only worry is 2 worries, really. We need to see him in the Prem, because the last time he did play for us, he hasn't been great, but he had a great loan spell back over in France. But I'm also worried where his the positives in his game is being able to, run past the defense, and how much space he gets in Liga that he got, and where he got a lot of his goals. You don't really get that in the Prem. So I kind of need to see. This is where I was looking to see more of him in pre-season, to be like, okay, could he fit inside this Arsenal squad? I probably would be tempted to keep Balogun, purely because I'm just not a fan of Nketiah's style personally. However, as Arsenal, I think Arsenal keep Nketiah, sell Balogun, because I think Arteta likes what Nketiah can do and thinks he can nurture him. And he's also just signed a new contract not too long ago. I just don't see us selling him. So I would keep Balogun, but I think Arsenal would keep Nketiah.
But you guys also just gave, what's his name, Reece Nelson, who plays on the right side, no contract.
Yeah.
And now we just talked about Kudus, who's a right winger. We could talk about Nketiah leaving or Balogun leaving, but that doesn't really open up a position for Kudus anyways, even if you sell them. Yes, it opens up wages.
I thought Reece Nelson is a left winger.
Well,
More
see,
I think he plays
Play
both,
both.
but I think he plays on the right.
But
Mainly.
Arteta likes to have when we start a game, you'll see one person in one position. But what we've really seen over last season and this transfer window is he wants someone that can play across anywhere. But unless you're the two centre backs to the goalkeeper, you should be expected to be able to come into different positions and play anywhere if someone's injured or anything like that. So I'm not too worried on that sense because Arteta doesn't really. He wants someone who can move across. Like we've seen Trossard in pre-season start playing in midfield. We've got Kai, who a lot of people are having us for a left 8 or an 8 or playing on the left. But Arteta's also said, well, if Jesus is at us, we will stick him up front. If the reason came to it. So
we would love to see that. I
don't want to see that. I don't think that's where his strengths lie. I mean, that's not where his strengths lie to me. But the point being is it's someone versatile. Stop it.
We got 3 Chelsea fans in here.
What did you make of his performance against Man United?
Great question, Tel. Great question.
Because Mainu like just kept him so quiet.
I think everyone's going a bit. Honestly, I think everyone's going overboard. To be honest with you, I think it's his second game for the club. I'm not sure we've even established who's our starting kind of like midfield or how we're going to have the balance of playing in certain games. I feel like we've kind of been experimenting. Everyone online seems to think that he's going to play as like a left 8. Potentially, some people say maybe on the left wing. We're going to have to see because I'm personally not sure where he's going to play. I don't quite see the vision.
He has to start. He just has to start.
I mean, for that money, I want him to start and I want him to have an instant impact. But I think considering he's just come in and the amount of change that's going for our midfield, if he was to be an 8, I'm not going to bash him over 2 games when those connections haven't even been made. I'm not even sure the whole Arteta even knows exactly or has executed those connections within the team. And he even said that in his post-match. So I'm not worried. I'm giving him more grace than maybe other people are. I'm just going to... He's still very young. He's come off the back of an unfortunate season with Chelsea, but it's not even disrespectful to Chelsea. But even you guys can say, like, I don't think anyone played great for you last year, but there was so much going on. That doesn't mean people in your squad are bad players. There was a reason why Tuchel wanted him. I've got faith in him. I've got a bit of faith in him. I'm just not sure where he fits in.
Colin,
I would say out of all clubs, I think Arsenal fans take friendlies the most seriously. Again, Colleen,
I heard the way they were talking pre-match.
The way
they were talking pre-match.
I'm not saying names, but the way people in the group chat were talking before
they kept talking about the 4-0 that you beat last season.
Crazy.
They said last summer that they went for the league and they started the league well because they battered you guys 4-0. And then when I was running 21 rows celebrating, so everyone said, "Why are you celebrating a friendly?" I don't get it, But back to the Kai Havertz point, I just find it crazy how Arsenal, and I swear this is not me hating, but like Arsenal are meant to go for the league again this season. When I say go again for the league, is like at least competing, okay? And I think Arteta created a 65 million pound or euros, whatever it is, problem for himself. Because I don't think this was the season to experiment and, trying to discover the misunderstood Kai Havertz. I don't think this is the priority this season. The priority this season was if Xhaka leaves, we're going to get in one midfielder who's hopefully an improvement on Xhaka, slot him in, play the same brand of football that we played last season with slight improvements and a little bit more depth. The Kai Havertz thing to me, I'll tell you something. I appreciate that you have faith. I was sitting 20 yards behind that goal. This guy did not make a single shot in the warm-up. Not the game,
I think there's slight differences though in our cadences, even outside of in terms of our system. So we started we don't normally press in a 4-4-2. We were pressing in a 4-4-2 and out of possession with Kai Havertz leading it with Nketiah in that first half, which was slightly different for us.
But don't you think that leaves Rice exposed though? And I don't think that Rice is a good 6 on his own.
But
I think that in his first season.
I think that first half though, I think that was very much experimental from Arteta. Rightly or wrongly, if he wants to experiment in a preseason game is up to him. I think we also have other options in that 8. We also have Smith Rowe, who's forgotten about by a lot of Arsenal fans. The season before last, because last season he was injured for the whole season. He was fabulous. So I think I do agree with you though. I do think 60. It feels like a £60 million risk, but Arteta knows his head is on the block if this doesn't work out and we don't win the league.
I think he's going to be stubborn and he's going to cost himself.
So that's the risk he's got to take with that. So
question then for the panel. I want to throw this at the rivals. It looks like one of the talking points I wrote down today was Thomas Partey staying. And it looks right now when you read the reports that Thomas Partey will stay. If Thomas Partey stays for Arsenal, I don't see... We know Odegaard's starting. He's captain. We know Rice is starting 105 million. Surely Arteta nobody believes Arteta is going to bench Kai Havertz. Sorry, bench Thomas Partey for Kai Havertz.
No,
surely he's going to start. Surely he's going to start the game with Partey and because Partey and Rice in the middle with Odegaard.
They're good midfield.
He's ridiculously good. I think we can all see that. Like that's a brilliant midfield. I get that you've spent 65 million pound on Kai Havertz. I think the biggest mistake Arteta can make is what you said, Staffy. The biggest mistake he can make is feeling compelled to start Kai Havertz in every single game just because he just spent 65 million pound on him. That isn't how it works. It's about picking your best team. Kai Havertz has got to fight for that first team place. If he just picks him when he ain't ready, and you're leaving Partey on the bench, who look, he was poor in those 4 games where the season fell away for Arsenal. But overall, he's one of the best midfielders in the league last year. So was Declan Rice. You start them together. They're different kind of players.
That in his post match that he's not adverse to starting them both.
And Partey is the best guy for their build-up. Best guy for their build-up.
That's what I was gonna say. As in, like, guys, do not be surprised if Rice starts the first few games on the bench because he has to get used to the system. Like Thomas Partey is built for that role. Like he's built for that role. So Declan Rice, he still looks a little bit uncomfortable. Whether it's the exact system we're gonna play come the season, only Arteta knows. But he still didn't look 100%. Now Partey fitted seamlessly into that role last season. So what I'm saying is, don't be surprised if Thomas Partey starts again. So you've got what, Forest at home? Yeah, don't be surprised if Thomas Partey starts that game because Arteta goes with tried and trusted. Like you have to start the season well.
But this is exactly what Arteta wants. Exactly what we're talking about. Who are Arsenal going to play where? We know how Arsenal like to play. We know they like to do inverted. Is it going to be the left? Is it going to be right? Who's going to be starting in midfield for them? Who's going to be on the left? Who's going to be where? That's exactly what Arteta wants for going into this season. So I think the questions that we're raising is kind of exactly what he wants.
To me,
I'll be real.
A majority of your season will, unless Arteta admits to making a mistake, your 3 is going to have to be Rice, Havertz, and Odegaard. It just has to be. There's no question.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. It does have to be.
It will be. I think what you're saying.
Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be? Because when Pep, I'll tell you something. Pep is the king of doing that. He would sign expensive players, and in the first year, he would keep them on the bench as long as he wants until they learn the system. And that's a good way of being stubborn. Pep is stubborn, but he knows how to win while being stubborn. Because like he signs expensive players, and he says, "I'm gonna persist with them until they learn to play the way I want them to play." And eventually, when they hit, everyone is like, "Oh, look, he's a genius." However, he doesn't throw him in right away. Now, we're talking about a preseason game, so it's still okay to talk about it. It's not a serious game. We'll talk about it more in a critical way if it was the first game of the Premier League. But I don't think Arteta needs to create a problem for himself where he sits there and he's stubborn with having to persist with Rice and Havertz to work. And eventually, it might work, don't get me wrong. But you don't want to start the season slow because you were trying to prove something. And yes, when it works, maybe it costs you a few points along the way. You can go back to what you know, which is Partey and Odegaard, and you bring in just one extra midfielder who's new, aka Rice, because you don't have to start Havertz. I don't care about the money. Realistically, you have to start Rice because he is an essential player in that midfield. He learns the system, and then you can start trying Havertz in multiple places. Now, this way of me saying that, like if I'm Arteta, if I'm doing that, this is enough way of me like getting one player to learn the system while not being too stubborn and cost myself points or cost myself a few games in the beginning of the season, because it's not that important to fit in Havertz right away. What's important is starting the league strong again. That's just my opinion, though.
I don't think Rice has been brought in to play as an 8, in all honesty. I think he's going to play in that 6, and I think Kai Havertz is going to be their 8. So he's going to have to hit the ground running. You know, I've described his attributes already. For me, he's not a left centre mid. I know it's only 2 games for you guys, but for us, it's 3 years of watching this man. Do you know what I mean? I had 2 years of patience with Havertz. It's only last season when I lost my patience with him completely. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not going to work with him in left.
But at
centre mid.
Chelsea, he played
I mean, it's
11%
not going
of
to
the
work.
time on the left. He played 65% of his time up front, and the rest.
And he was
spread
poor
across
when
camp
he played
on the right.
When he first came in, he started as an 8, and he was
He was
playing
playing
Yeah,
with
but
Partey.
across his whole time at Chelsea, he's played 11% on the left side.
Yeah, but what we're saying is
the whole reason he was over there is because he couldn't do it in the midfield in the first place.
But he literally spent most of his time up front, and you're saying that didn't work.
No, but we played him in that. We played him in that left centre mid role.
The same guy that
him. I remember again against Burnley he had when
what I'm saying is,
I think you're missing the point. Chelsea fans are saying nothing worked. I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
The point.
That's exactly what. No, I know exactly what you're saying, and I think where you're saying that, I think Arteta will actually start him, and I don't think it's going to work. I actually think it's wishful thinking from a rival perspective, from a Chelsea fan.
You think he's not going to start? So your answer is that you think he's not going to start?
I think the way once it, Kelly, you can't call that wishful thinking because we've been watching the guy for 4 years. Like you can't call it wishful thinking.
I do think you guys want him to not succeed at Arsenal.
No, of course.
No.
At the end of the day,
yes,
no.
yes, I do.
We're talking football. We're talking football.
Speaking, having watched him for thousands and thousands of minutes.
So you think a 24-year-old coached by another coach is impossible for him to improve?
I'm not saying
we're not saying
it's
can't
impossible.
Let me just.
We're speaking on our experiences.
The same guy that won you a Champions League.
I think Havertz again. No, Terry will tell you I was one of the guys who backed Havertz to the hilt. I still don't want to sell him. I still don't want to sell him. I didn't want to sell him to Arsenal either. I don't want to sell him to Arsenal, but I think he does have potential to be very good at Arsenal. However, not as an 8 in the midfield. He's not going to be able to do it in the Prem.
He's not my favourite in an 8 either. But if Arteta thinks that he can, if Arteta thinks he can coach him there in an 8, then
I'll tell you now with confidence, it won't work. It won't.
Well,
it's not going to work. Khalid, I look at the basics. I know Arsenal fans are saying like, oh, he has to get used to the system. He has to build a lot of chemistry and all of these things. I go back to that first game that I watched in pre-season of you guys when Kai Havertz made his debut. Yeah, that 16-year-old kid. Number one, he looks more physically ready for the Premier League than Havertz does. That's the first thing. And number two, when he was actually on the pitch, he was showing me something. Same thing as Mainu, 18 years old, showing me something. Kai Havertz has just come into this club, 65 M's, over 200k a week. He's one of your highest paid players. I don't care about systems and all of these analogies and whatnot. Show me the basics of the game. Demand the ball. Drive with the ball. Try show your fans something. Has he shown you anything since he's been here, apart from that volley and that skills challenge where he flopped?
Are we really going
to? I'm not saying write him off because of preseason. I'm not asking him. I'm not saying write him off because of preseason games. I'm just saying break it down to the actual basics of football. Just break it down to the basic level of football. Wanari, how can a 16-year-old show you up and he's playing in midfield? How can Mainu, an 18-year-old, show something? And Kai Havertz does nothing on the pitch.
I think, guys, I think, Colleen, I think you're looking at it from the other side. I'm saying, being from outside, I'm looking at it. Kai Havertz, he has to prove that he can get back to the Leverkusen form. It's not the other way around. It's not that we have to be patient watching him. He flopped at Chelsea for 3 years. These 3 years this is the history of him. This is the recent history. That Leverkusen form, it's 4 years ago now. It's gone. It's done. It's Arteta has to find that form again. And it's very hard. I haven't seen it before. I haven't seen a guy flop for 3 years and rediscover the form. It's the other way around. You're telling us you're judging him off 2 seasons. That's exactly the point I made to begin with. We are not judging him off 2 seasons, of 2 games. We're judging him off 3 seasons at Chelsea.
But that's exactly the point. That's the point. That's the exact point I made to begin with. When we first started talking about this, I said that I think 60 million for Havertz is a risk because I'm not exactly sure what Arteta's plans in for him because he can play in between the lines. I don't like him as a striker. It seems like he's going to play as an 8, but no one's quite sure yet where he's going to play or how he fits in. I don't believe he starts for us straight away. I don't care how much he costs. I don't believe that. What I do believe is that Arteta's not spending off the back of last season 60 million odd pounds on a player and putting that risk in because, if we don't win the league or if we have a really bad season, he's going to be gone. And that's going to be one of the main kind of like risk. That's going to be part of one of the risk assessments that they would have discussed behind the scenes and how this season will go. I think he'll end up being on the bench and being slowly put into whatever plan Arteta has for him. But I do believe that he has qualities that Arteta can hone in and become a success at Arsenal. Now, where that is at Arsenal, I'm not even quite sure yet myself. I don't quite like the 8 right now, but that's where it looks like it's going to be. It's definitely not going to be as a striker, but we've seen out of possession, Arteta wants someone a little bit taller, and he's already said that he wants our midfield to be much taller across and much more physical, much bigger across the midfield. So we kind of have to wait and see, but I'm not going to to be...
Listen, he's
right,
tall.
Havertz
He's
is
tall.
tall,
He's not physical
not
at all.
physical.
Not physical.
Not physical at all.
I hear that, guys. I want to
pre-season.
I want to go to some of these super chats here. First one says, Kai Havertz is an industry plant, jack of no trades, master of none. He's bad. I've watched him for 3 years, and that's a worse punishment than death, is what man like Anton says.
Return your UCL then. Return it back.
Yeah. Wayne here says, that's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. A transfer fee doesn't mean he must start. That's just not how football works. Has to know.
No, but he does.
No.
He doesn't.
Bro, Pep put 100 million. He put 100 million Grealish on the bench the first season, and you're telling me Arteta has to play
Again. Pep has that insurance in the back. Arteta does not.
So what pressure? Do you think the fans or Eddie's telling him that we spent 65 million on him?
Listen, so we're doing. So you're asking him to do the same thing.
He's not starting. If Arteta says he's not starting, the guy is not starting.
Like, if Arteta says he's not starting continuously, I'm not saying
it's a bigger statement for Arteta not to start him than to have to play him.
I'm not even saying he's going to start like game one. I'm saying a majority of the season, unless he admits he's done something wrong and he ends up playing in a completely different position, he is going to be playing that 8. He will. I'll tell you that.
The thing is, I agree with David because look,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to literally offer out Partey to say, "Oh yeah, you can leave if you want," and then have him start playing again. Because we were getting roasted for doing the exact same thing with Ziyech. Arsenal fans had smoke for us when we did that. Why does it make sense? It doesn't make sense for you guys to do the same thing.
So Arteta's supposed to sit here and just listen to the banter, and he was like, "Oh, because David is going to banter me if I play Havertz."
It's not about listening to banter. It's not listening to banter. If you put 65 mil into a position where you've sold the guy who played last year, and you're willing to get rid of somebody else who could play that position.
Well, that's rumours though. Arteta's come out and said, in Arteta's eyes, and what Arteta has said outside of ITKs and social media, he's categorically said that Thomas Partey is an important part of this plan, and he's not going anywhere.
Is he going to come out and say he's not?
Yeah, but I'm saying your talk. So you want me to? But your argument's based on online.
Are we believing everything that managers say now?
So then we're going to believe everything that we read online then as well.
No.
Exactly. So why would we believe?
But my point
you know what though?
You got to take everything.
Let David make his point.
There are more reports of Partey being willing to be sold than him willing to be kept.
But then I feel like I can make the same argument where until something happens, I don't feel like that can be an argument, because what you're saying, I shouldn't believe everything I'm hearing, or he can say he's not going to come out. I don't feel like you should believe everything that's being said around Thomas Partey.
Rude Boy here says Mudryk costs more. How many games did he start?
And I'd say that's more mismanagement than anything.
Yeah,
we had so many players. We had to play everyone.
Listen, anything to do with us last season, that's an anomaly.
Let me just say one thing on Wayne's super chat as well, because Wayne, you're right in saying that, like, your price doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to start. You are right in saying that, but in the context of Kai Havertz, Real Madrid literally walked away because they weren't trying to pay 65 million. They valued him to be about 45 million euros. In fact, the fact that Arsenal have paid, basically given us our money back for Havertz after the 3 years that he's had, David's right. Like, in a way, I do agree with David, and I can see how he's looking at it, because for you to basically give Chelsea their money back, that must mean that you rate this player highly. So if you put 2 and 2 together, that must mean that he's going to play a big part. I don't think he'll start every game. I think he's going to start.
It doesn't mean he has to play a big part straight away. He might end up doing
he will. He will play a big part. 65 million for Havertz right now is robbery.
I mean, I would hope he would play a big part. But right now, no one here, not even an Arsenal fan online, could even tell me what Arteta's plan is for Havertz, because we've just not even seen enough of sample sizes to see what his plan is and what the system is going forward. So no one even knows exactly where he's going to be playing. We can assume
10 games clean before you can. Do you need to watch 10 games of Havertz at 8 before you decide?
Well, in this scenario, yeah, I don't even know if he's going to play that 8.
Don't you think the other day was a good indication though, because you literally played against a Premier League opposition?
What?
Not really, because I'll tell you something.
And I think it was a stressful game.
I think Arteta, in the context of the game, I think Arteta made a mistake playing like that against a transition team. But when he goes to the Premier League, he's going to play a lot of low block teams. So Havertz actually will look a lot better in a lot of games than he did over the weekend, friendly or not. So that you could look at it in two ways, though. It's going
to be interesting. There's a super chat here that says Kai Havertz ain't even played a competitive game and fans are falling over themselves to mouth off. The football gods are watching, is what Jason Martin says. Redneck Blue, hope you're doing well, bro. Says, Colleen, darling, I really, really do hope he succeeds at Flopsnall. With some laughing emojis there from Redneck Blue, all the way from Texas. Paper never refuses ink, doesn't mean it's gospel. I quite like that. It's a nice saying. I like that. We can see Teta is evolving the 8. Here's a plan, is what he says. Yeah, someone actually sent me a voice note the other day on Instagrams. I don't know who the person is, saying that they think it's going to be Kai Havertz will be used as plan B for long balls into the box. That's what he said.
I don't know why you pay 60 million for that.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You guys don't listen.
You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny as well? Like they're saying, "Oh, it's look. Of course, it's the Chelsea fans. They're so impatient." Roy literally just said he didn't want to sell him. David literally just said he used to big him up. I've literally just said I had 2 years of patience of this man. It was most of the friends that used to slander him were my Arsenal friends.
Arsenal fans, bro.
Like my Arsenal friends. If this guy was going to Man United, there wouldn't be no plan. Ten Hag's got a plan for him. This, that. It'll be Kai Havertz. Look at him. He's gonna flop. All of these things, but now he's coming to your club. You want to make sense of it, and you want to forget about the slander you gave him.
Arteta, I think as well with Arteta in particular, we also have had to eat our own humble pie as fans, because when he brought in the likes of Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Ben White, we were all like, I don't see what you're going to be doing here. Like, who even knew Ben White could even play as a right back? We didn't see the vision, and they've all turned out.
Lots of people knew Ben White could play right back.
No,
he did it at Leeds. He did it at Leeds
for Arsenal. No one saw him coming in because he played as a centre back. He played as a centre back when he first came to Arsenal. When he first came to Arsenal in his first season, he played as a centre back. No, I didn't expect him to come in and be our starting right back for a title challenging season. You telling me you saw that?
I'm not saying I didn't know it would be title challenging, but I knew he could play right back
and be Arsenal's starting right back. That's why you thought Arsenal were buying him to be a right back.
His competition is Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu is a great right back.
He's not a top player. He is not a top player.
I wouldn't call him a top player. I think he's good.
The point I'm making is no one was believing in these signings, and Arteta has coached them and made it work for Arsenal. So I'm not going to jump on a signing that he's made when he's not giving me a reason to doubt him so far.
The super chat here from South says this David guy is an absolute donut. Why are you talking in absolutes? He must. No one knows what Teta will do regardless of how much he spends.
If you're paying 65 mil for a bench player, that's bad business. Flat out. I don't care. It's bad business.
This here says, who will be better, Havertz or Mount playing 8?
Mount.
Mason
Mount was already doing better in his preseason. At least we know where we're using him. We didn't bring him in and said, "Oh, we're gonna, try."
I think Havertz
try
to figure out a season. I think Havertz is gonna have a better season than Mount.
You really think that?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Mason's gonna have a better season, especially in this system. Yeah, he's gonna have a better season.
I'm not a fan of man. Roy. Me personally, Casemiro Mount pivot, I'm not moved at all.
You don't have to be moved. Listen, if you watch the games already, you can see that we're already
playing a pivot.
I mean,
like when he says pivot,
4-3-3, depending on on pitch geography and all this stuff, but it's gonna be the majority of 4-2-3-1, maybe in possession, out of possession, but the core formation is gonna be 4-2-3-1. So, and I personally, I don't like Mount next to.
But you said we're playing 4-2-3-1. You watch how we play.
I don't think so.
Like I said, they play 4-3-3. It's the same way Arsenal don't play 3-2-5. Arsenal play 4-3-3, which transitions into a 3-2-5, depending on game state. I'm just saying the core formation, it looks like it's going to be 4-2-3-1.
I would advise you to go back and watch our preseason. Go watch at least watch the Arsenal one so you understand how we play.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. This super chat here from Anthony says, do you think Arteta switching systems to the lone 6 and 2 8s will cost Arsenal with a slow start to the season?
Yes.
You played that last year, my friend.
They did that last
you
season.
literally played
Before
low in 6, and Xhaka was the highest guy on the pitch as an 8.
Is he an Arsenal fan?
No, but the thing is, the personnel was different. The formation is fine,
Yeah.
but the personnel, I think the issue is, and I've been saying this for weeks, that Rice starting in the lone 6 and now Havertz being in the 8 actually makes it harder for Rice. Whereas I thought it would have been ideal.
Stop it. Can we stop that? I actually believe that Thomas Partey will be the 6. He is the better 6 than Declan Rice.
Why are you telling me to stop that? Listen, I'm just showing you what I've been seeing.
I know that we've seen Havertz play as an 8. I don't take Arteta as an idiot. He is not gonna play Rice, Havertz, and Odegaard. I don't think so.
He's done it already, so I'm going by what I see. I can't go by what my
God
is going to happen.
You know what?
Arteta's doing.
Maybe Arteta played that. Maybe with that midfield, there's a good chance that the idea of it might be better than what it actually does on the pitch. And I'm not saying that's gonna happen. But Arteta could have easily said, "Look, you know what? I'll try this in pre-season. If it doesn't work, then." Move Rice to the 8.
So if it doesn't work,
what preseason is for.
So hold on. So we wasted preseason. Now let's go back to Plan B in the season when the season starts. And then you got
Roy literally just said.
Sorry. Maybe that's what preseason is for.
Maybe.
Just think about it like that.
I mean, Declan Rice can't play 8, and he never has. So I don't know where this.
No, that's actually a fault because at West Ham he is leaning to the left side most of the game. But
he's not playing as an 8. He's not playing as an 8.
And he wasn't a
lone
lone 6
defensive
either.
player. He's their main defensive player.
No,
he only plays loans. I know that. Super. Go ahead, Terry. Sorry.
Nathaniel here says Arteta has a plan for Havertz. It's called Inshallah.
It's Inshallah ball.
Is what he said there. This super chat says, "Oh my God, Chelsea fans! For F's sake, he was completely misplaced in centre forward. He a midfielder. What he played at Leverkusen and did amazing. Arteta will recover him to his best. Chelsea got half the globe and still no Europe." Is what Sonny said.
True because he played centre forward at Leverkusen and he also played on the right. He very rarely played in midfield. So,
thank you, Sonny, for the super chat. Jay here says our midfield will probably look different based on opposition. The midfield will we play against City won't be the midfield we play versus Luton at home. I think that is the key here, personally. I think it's about depth, rotation, and options. Now, I get there are question marks over Havertz, the same as there is question marks over Mount. Man United are looking at Amrabat. And for me, people go, well, how can Amrabat and Caciedo play every game together? Well, that's not what's going to happen. You know, there is going to be rotation needed, suspensions, injuries. You know, how we play at home against at least 10, 11 members of the Premier League will be different to how we play away from home. So, yeah, Jay, I agree with you 100%. I think you're spot on with that super chat, bro. This here says Mainu dominated Muller Rice on Saturday. He's 18.
Mainu, baller.
Looks like
saw it with my own eyes.
That's what happens when you have to cover for 2 people. It's what happens. You get exposed.
He was very, very good. Even going forward, he was. I blame Staffy for the inflation. No reason. It's just Staffy's fault, right, Mo?
Listen, it's always Staffy's fault for everything.
Caicedo wants to leave. He does not want Chelsea. Oh, no Fox given.
Thanks for the super chat, bro.
He says Noni did pick up a small. Who's Noni?
Madwakey.
Oh, his first name, right? I didn't know.
Noni Madwakey, yeah.
There we go. I thought he was talking about Nanny. I'm like, Nanny's gone, bro.
I thought it was a pet name, and I'm like, why? Who's he calling?
Yeah, I didn't know his first name. Did you watch the debut goal from Messi? Do you think this is a drop-off year for Arsenal? I did see the debut goal. It was great. Is it going to be a drop-off year for Arsenal? I'm going to go to Mo on this one.
I don't think so. I think Arsenal will have a good system that is working. The only problem is that if Arteta is stubborn, I don't think he's going to be stubborn. I take him as a good manager. I think they continue with the same system. They continue with the good form they have. I think Arsenal now strengthening other than just replacing Xhaka, which he had a great season. I think Xhaka was one of the reasons Arsenal had a great 30 games last year, scoring 7 goals, always involved in defensive and offensive parts of the game. And I think Arteta can mold Declan Rice to play the Xhaka rule. And within a year, he's going to be better than Xhaka because I think he'll be more consistent.
There we go. We are going to sell Balogun, and it's going to bite us in the arse, is what Rude Boy says.
Ooh.
I think Balogun is linked to Inter for 35 million.
Yeah, you want to buy him, don't you, man?
Pounds, including bonuses.
Is that me?
That's good money for him.
I don't know what happened there. Everyone back?
Yeah.
You're the only one that left.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You all went on my screen. Sorry, it all froze there for a second. What were you saying, Mo? Sorry.
No, Balogun is linked to Inter for 35 million pounds, including bonuses. That was the money that was going to be paid for Lukaku. And I haven't listened. I've not watched the guy 1 minute, so I don't know anything about the guy. Just all based on Arsenal fans telling me he's good.
He can't be worse than Lukaku. He can't be.
Yeah. This here says we need to sell Pepe, Nketiah, or Balogun. Lokonga, Cedric, Holding before we sign anyone else. No Arsenal journalists has strongly linked us to Kudus anyway, to be honest. Yeah, but they won't until you're ready to move because there's somebody else in for him. And that's been like the story of the summer. And I hope everybody's noticed the way transfer journalism works. Like when a deal's in its early stages, everybody's quiet and plays it down until it starts to advance because nobody wants to be wrong and they want to do the PR thing. But yeah, selling, like Sammy McBale spoke about it, he's very credible but neutral. Selling Balogun is going to bite us, and Nketiah has had enough time. I think a lot of Gooners agree with you there. Didier here says, I mean, we could wait and see about Havertz. That's true. He hasn't played a competitive game yet. That is very, very true. Chelsea boys, show us your coaching badges, is what Anthony says here. You got coaching badges?
There's no point of us even being on this show then. If you know what I mean, there's no point of content creators if we can only listen to coaches.
Wait, guys, you do know the rest, the remaining four of us all have coaching badges.
Yeah, I have.
Know that.
Wait, Will? Wait, hold on, Will. I already have mine.
Hold on. You lot think that I wouldn't? I said I had better talent idea than Tuchel. Of course, got coaching badges. What are we doing here?
I remember that video. I saw that.
Continental Pro License A.
You know the pattern, man.
So City only spends 30 million on bench players. Sure, David.
Yeah, but the only reason that the players who are like 50, 60 mil are bench players because they don't perform and then City replace them with another 50, 60 mil player. So in theory, it's still bad business. But, you know.
Wayne here says, Jesus Christ, it's pre-season. Pre-season is for experimentation. Partey had just returned to the team on Friday. It was his first pre-season game. True, he ain't been fit. Like, I do listen. I think it's right on both sides. I think it's a bit of an overreaction. Arsenal going to fall off. It's going to go wrong. Equally, before the game, there were a lot of Arsenal fans bigging up 4-0, 5-0, 7-0 wins, saying it was really important, saying that it's pivotal. And then there's been I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter calling out Lissandro Martinez, saying he's got little man syndrome and attacking him. It weren't even that. I didn't even think it was that bad. I thought it was a normal tackle. He won the ball. I couldn't believe it.
People around me kept saying it's a red card. I was like, red card for what?
Who said it was? Who said it was?
In the stadium. People in the stadium were saying it's a red card.
I don't mean it rudely. Like, I was hearing the chants. I was hearing, let's go United, let's go.
No. That was not the chants.
Anyone who chants like that don't know ball. Like, that's my view.
I'll send you the videos. I was stuck in with the top reds over there. I was top Staffy over there.
We saw you running around the Gooners. It was funny. This is from DK. He says, Colleen, we cannot blindly just trust the team signings. Look at how Vieira turned out. Us fans need to call out the club when there is a bad decision made, but let's see what happens eventually.
Respectfully disagree. Vieira's been here a season, and I feel like what do you want me to call out? Literally, what do you want me to call out about Havertz? He's been crap in 1.5 preseason games. Sorry.
But you signed a player that didn't perform for 3 years, and you spent 65 million giving Chelsea back their money.
I like
the truth.
The signing. I like my truth is that I like the signing. As soon as I like the signing.
You're literally just saying.
I'll hear it more.
Sorry, Don. You're literally just saying what the guys are saying. You guys are following Arteta. Whatever he said, jump.
Why?
If he says jump, they say how high. That's
why do you want me to criticize? Why do you want me to? I have no intention of criticizing Arteta over this signing at this point in time.
Do you know what it is, Colleen? There'll be more reason to have more hope if he only played at Chelsea for like a season and then he moved on. But it's literally been 3 solid years. That's a long time.
In my opinion, I'm gonna trust Arteta until like if it's been a year or 18 months and he's persisted with it and it's not worked out, then it's like, okay, I can criticize. Why am I going to criticize the club?
Colleen, you don't
right
think
now?
it's an issue that's been created that didn't need to be created, and that's the only criticism
It's only an
I'm
issue.
holding
Well,
of this.
again, we don't
By
even.
the way-
I don't even know where he's slotting into this Arsenal team to even talk about it being an issue.
By the way,
But that
Mo,
is-
Mo will vouch for this. Mo will vouch for this. Yesterday, a gal literally said to me, Kai Havertz was the main man at Chelsea. At Arsenal, it's all right for him to come in and give 6 out of 7 performances. 6 to 7 out of 10 performances is what he said to me, basically. He said it's all right for him to just come in and give average level performances. There's no pressure on him, apparently.
Hold on, Colleen, one question. You said you like the signing, right?
Mhm.
But you don't know where Arteta's going to use him.
From when we first signed, because when we first were linked with him, I hadn't even seen the preseason games. I didn't believe he was going to play as a left 8, but now it seems like that's where it's heading. But the point I'm making is I'm not going to throw Arteta under the bus or get angry about the signing when he's not even played a handful of games for us. I just think that's crazy. Why should I get my pitchfork out?
And fair play
Why?
to you on that. This super chat here says, get away from bench players, starting player profiles. Managers seem to be shifting lineups to the system in use. I mean, look, it's been going on forever. It's what Fergie did. It's what Wenger did in his pomp days. Rotation is what it comes down to. I remember Partey couldn't play 6 and Odegaard struggled.
Odegaard struggled in his first season.
Yeah.
Odegaard wasn't the greatest. I mean, Partey.
Yeah, Brighton know Chelsea have to get Caicedo. That is the leverage, is what Didier says here. Yeah, I think you're right, Didier. I think you're right. They know. That's what they believe anyway. Sonny Saint says, I truly believe Arsenal will have a better season. City have too much drama, players leaving. Chelsea buy players, then figure out where to play them. United, Newcastle, maybe Liverpool will improve. So Sonny believes you're having a better season. That suggests the only way Arsenal have a better season is winning the league, Sonny. Is that what you're saying, bro? I need you to...
And what drama does City have? Is there something we're
Well, we've got
missing?
lots of players leaving. I suppose that's the drama.
Apart from Cancelo, it ain't really got drama, to be honest.
Maybe he's referring to the charges. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
Specify. Jackson didn't need comp matches to show his competitive matches to show his quality.
Facts. My shooter.
Used to give players a season, now not even pre-season. Now it is true. Like the amount of time people give players before they call them flops is
social media, Terry. Everyone makes fail comps and everyone gets bricked because of one bad game, and then before you know it, players are gonna like turn up to their medical and people are gonna be making fail comps saying, "Oh yeah, he didn't look good in his medical, so he's guaranteed to fail." Like, literally,
I've seen people going at Newcastle because they like if you go on to like Getty Images, we got a license for it, and you put in like Sandro Tonali, you get all the pictures and journalists upload all of them. So you'll get him walking down and he'll smile in one, and then by the end of it, he's not smiling. But then certain people are picking the ones where he's not smiling and saying he's so unhappy not to be there. I'm like, oh my days. It's just the manipulation is crazy to me. But as you say, it is social media and it is what it is. But look, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's tuned into the show today. All of our super chatters, our members, and our viewers, you're absolutely amazing. Please make sure you're subscribing with the bell notification turned on, and you've got bell notification. Sorry, I've already said that, and that you leave us your comments below once the show re-uploads. My panel, of course, Cal out to leave us already, but Don, David, Staffy, Roy, Colleen, and Mo, I want to thank you all very, very much for coming on. Is this Chelsea fan from South Africa?
I'm assuming it's me.
Well, we have 3 of them, so please tell us which one.
No, because of the flag, innit? The flag.
Oh, is it the flag?
Yeah.
Listen, we all got relieved all of a sudden because I'm like, I don't like what this comment is
one
coming
person
from.
has an accent that you would link to South Africa. It's a very distinct accent, and I was so confused. And then we saw the flag. There we go. That makes a lot of sense. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you all again very